The following podcast contains naughty language and ridiculous situations. Listener discretion is advised.
There has been a noticeable uptick in religious horror as of late hitting theaters. Exorcist Believer, The First Omen, Immaculate, Midsummer, Saint Maud, and tonight's film Late Night with the Devil. Not to mention probably a few more direct to streaming. These have had varying degrees of success, and it seems that this trend won't be leaving the big screens anytime soon with Exorcist Deceiver and The Exorcism. From demons to nunsploitation, it's hitting us between the eyes with a sweet upside-down cross and a filleted Roman candle to boot. But because of the success of Immaculate, can this mean the resurgence of nunsploitation? Love Letters of a Portuguese Nun, Flavia the Heretic, and The Killer Nun are classics in this subgenre. Adding to the list is not such a bad idea. But what's your stance on religious horror? Tell me all about it. And welcome to Trick or Treat Radio.
Welcome to episode 613 of Trick or Treat Radio. Trick or Treat Radio is the world's most dangerous podcast and recorded in front of an undead studio audience or maybe a devil-possessed studio audience tonight, huh? And we are broadcasting from 4 locations. It's here, Castle Wolfenstein, also the Lair of Lost Swag within the Raven Chateau, Casa de -0, and from the blackness of Rhode Island. We are also joined this week by good buddy, old friend of the show, Arkham, Josh.
Hello, everyone.
Hey, Josh, good to have you back, man.
Yeah,
Looks
thanks
like
for having me.
looks like the eclipse is still hanging out around Rhode Island, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been in this total eclipse for like 2 weeks now. We're not quite sure what's happening.
Oh, man, that's good. So on this week's show, we're going to be talking about Late Night with the Devil. It is a much, I guess, slightly controversial, but also much discussed horror film that just dropped on Shudder. It had a theatrical run, a limited theatrical run, and from what I understand, did all right for itself for a small theatrical release. But we'll be talking about that film this evening. I'm looking forward to it because this has probably been one of the most anticipated films of the year, at least for me, and I think for maybe some of the other guys. And so looking forward to jumping into that. We'll be discussing that in a little bit. But before we do that, we always kind of shoot the shit a little bit, and that's what we'll be doing now. And we're going to shoot the shit with Josh and find out what's going on in his neck of the woods. So, Josh, what's been going on with you?
Not much. Just been keeping busy with the record and other like resale. We've been doing a lot of events. I've been doing a lot of freelance projection AV work. Being busy.
Yeah. You had mentioned you worked like 70 something hours doing projection recently?
Yeah, 2 weeks ago was the Ivy Film Fest at Brown. And in 1 week's time I did about 75 hours worth of work.
Jesus Christ.
Jeez.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Some of it was like really hard too. Like I had to sit there and watch a bunch of movies.
Oh man, yeah. I mean, I remember those days. Such hard work.
It was really awful having to watch like Abigail before it came out.
Yeah.
People are all excited for this Fall Guy film, and I'm like, I saw it 2 weeks ago.
You poor bastard.
Yep.
I know. Makes it even worse when I have to like hang out and talk to people like Michael Showalter.
Oh, that sucks. Yeah, that's worse.
juice.
They I mean, they should really pay you more for that job.
I know it's tough. It's tough, isn't it? Yeah, they always also have really good guests there. So, yeah, they had Michael Showalter there showing his new film. So I got to meet and talk to him for a few minutes. Got him to sign my Wet Hot American Summer VHS
Nice.
and my my The State DVD set.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Great.
I know the
And,
name. Which one's Michael Showalter? He was one of the actors in that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which hold on here. I forget his character's name in Wet Hot American Summer.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Now that I look at a picture, fuck, of course.
You got it.
Yeah.
You got it? Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
he was the guy with the bowl haircut.
Yeah.
yeah. Let me see. I'm looking at his writing credits. Let me pull up his acting credits. Actor. Fuck.
Wasn't he also in Brooklyn Nine-Nine?
Yeah.
No, that's one of the other guys.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, that's one
That's
of the guys.
Joe Latrulio.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Joe
Mhm.
Latrulio.
Well, Joe Latrulio, and also the other one. I want to dip my balls in it. Guy.
He's fantastic.
He was a bit part in Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Mm.
It's weird. I think IMDb is having some issues because I can't
Yeah.
expand his acting. It's just
Huh.
not doing anything. So,
But he's been in a lot of good stuff. So
yeah.
he's a very funny person. I also got to meet Doug Lyman. I was excited because he's the guy that made Swingers and Go.
Oh, yeah.
But I guess other people would be like, oh, like The Born Supremacy and Mr. and Mrs. Smith and
Nah,
stuff like that.
Swingers. Swingers. It's money, baby. All right,
Yeah,
I'm gonna look up Michael
they always-
Showalter
they-
elsewhere.
Yeah, they always have interesting guests, and the screenings are like some of them are advanced screenings, like I mentioned, and then there's a lot of student short films from around the world.
Hmm.
So that's always really interesting too.
Yeah. All right, Michael Showalter just found Wet Hot American Summer was Gerald Cooperberg.
Mm.
Coop. That's it. Coop.
Yeah.
That's
And let's see, he was in that's his acting roles. Television in the State. Yes, obviously he was in the State.
Yeah, in the State he was Doug.
Doug,
And
yeah.
He's out
Oh,
of
okay,
here.
I'm
yeah.
out of here.
You're dead, and I'm Doug.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
out of here.
Out of here. So yeah, I love that dude.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Bill
That's
Cassidy's
super cool.
great.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The other film that I had mentioned to you before the show was I got to see I saw the TV Glow, the new
Oh,
film by
yeah.
the director of We're All Going to the World's Fair,
Yeah.
and like I was saying, it's less horror than We're All Going to the World's Fair, but it's definitely a very interesting watch and worth checking out.
Jane Schoenbrum or something like that. Schoenbrum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds correct to me.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. So Josh got a look at it and said, pretty weird. It reminded me a little bit, not to say that it's like a ripoff or a direct sort of influence by, but it reminded me of Candle Cove, Channel Zero.
So that's what I thought with the trailer.
Yeah.
But there's no question that the show they talk about existed. Like it 100% like was a real show,
Yeah.
and there's this whole other mythology around it.
Okay, cool.
So yeah, seeing the trailer, that was also my initial wonder. I was like, oh, is this like an expansion of that? But it's similar but very different.
All right, cool. That's good to hear.
Yeah.
Let's check on the chat rooms real quick. We have our boy D Rook. D Rook is hanging out, and he says, "And the battle cry with the boys begins again. How are the brothers? Trick or Treat Radio and Brother Josh."
Why, hello.
D Rook, what's up, man? Good to hear from you. Hope everything's all right.
I got a chance to see D. Rook and the great Stephen Van Samson, Rough House Brothers at the shop this past Saturday for
Nice.
Record Store Day.
Ooh.
What
Gave those guys a hug.
what was going on for Record Store Day? Anything interesting?
Fucking Yeah, record store. Records.
Well,
Okay.
I mean,
Fuck, Josh, really? Right?
Yeah,
Fucking
record
think it's
store.
easy?
Yeah.
We're giving away record stores.
Yeah.
Gabe
Man, I
Derrick
should have
Brook won.
gone. I should have gone, yeah.
But no, we had a big event. It was our soft unveiling of the new space too, of the new
soft.
soft unveiling. So we had live events. It was very cool. Gabe D. Rook and Stephen Van Samson hugging a kiss. That was sweet.
Another one, or you gave multiple hugs
yeah.
and kisses, or what?
Yeah, plural, meaning more than one.
Okay, yeah.
He got them coming and going.
Yeah, I could barely decide.
Going and coming.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Oh.
All right, so let's see what else. So interesting MZ's intro, because that'll play into the movie we're doing next week.
Mm.
So what is it about religious horror? You think there's been an uptick recently, MZ? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, at least as far as theatrical release films go.
Yeah.
You know, and it's a slow process, but it's been moving up, you know, and I mean, just in the past couple of months, I mean, just, you know, Late Night with the Devil, Immaculate, The First Omen. I mean, these are religious films, all getting a theatrical release to a certain extent.
I wouldn't necessarily call Late Night with the Devil a religious film per se.
Well, I mean, it involves
Well,
religions of a sort.
Of a sort.
yeah, demonology. I mean, that's a
Yeah.
religion.
That's esotericism. I don't know if but the point, I'll let the point breathe. I'll let it be.
I mean, the sidekick's dressed as a devil.
You should have been like John Lovitz in Saturday Night Live.
Mm.
That was the best.
Mr. Mephistopheles. I am Mephistopheles.
He goes to the people's court.
Yeah.
Can't decide on a background tonight. Why? Why can't I decide? I'll just go with this. Fuck it. We'll go with the whole fucking spiral thing. Let's see. Evening all, says Angry Townsman. What's up, Angry?
What's up, baby?
We're going to hear from Angry a little bit later. Got a voice message from the man.
Nice.
So looking forward to hearing that. Let's see. So yeah, speaking of voice messages, if you guys want to go ahead and leave your thoughts on this week's film, we're going to be talking about Late Night with the Devil. You can feel free to send them in podcast at trickortreatradio.com. And that is if you're listening live. If you're not listening live, then you can send it anyways, and we'll play it next week. But if you are listening live, I'd love to hear some additional thoughts on the film. It just popped up on Shudder a few days ago, so curious to see what people thought of it. And it's been playing theatrically for a bit now. So, yeah, been looking forward to talking about this one. But what else? What else is going on here? So Josh has been selling records all over the fucking place, going to different events. Any interesting I don't know, like records that you've come into possession of, or collections that you've bought, or anything like that, Josh, that is sort of like worth a conversation? Or is it just kind of standard fare?
It's been super exciting as of late. You know,
Yeah.
no real crazy stories of finding records or, yeah.
Just lots of stuff. Any major collections that you've come upon recently?
No, nothing big. I've just been getting piecemeal small amounts here and there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a while since I found, like, you know, where I got like one good chunk of like hundreds of records, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if folks do want to check it out, you can go to Josh's Discogs.
Yeah.
Is that still the best place, Josh?
Oh, yeah. Yep. Still the best place and still being updated, you know, at least once a week with new items.
Nice. So you can go to discogs.com/seller/jgravel, and you can check it out. And Josh has a bunch of stuff for sale. I see 965 things for sale right now.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
It's a lot, Raven Shadow, right? Can you count that high?
In a row?
It's almost as many as items as you have in your store, right?
It's true. Yes.
Yeah. So
Josh, I'm expecting to see you at Monster Expo, right? In July still? You
Yep,
still up
in New
there?
Hampshire. Yep.
Yep.
Oh yeah, we're going to be there, and we'll be set up for the whole weekend. I'll have some records. I'm scaling back the selection of records for that, and we're going to have a lot of movies, VHS, DVD, Blu-ray. We're going to have like a lot of books, some posters, all sorts of fun stuff.
Okay, well you're not hitting my sweet spot yet. Are you going to have soundtracks?
Oh yeah, the albums that I'll have will be soundtracks.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Good.
yeah, like I said, I'm just not bringing the whole selection. I'm probably going to bring like a few crates of records. I'll have soundtracks, probably some metal, things that I think will appeal to the overall audience. But I'm not going to bring like 3 crates of jazz and like
Easy listening and
yeah.
that
There'll definitely be some soundtracks.
that almost
I've
sounds
been putting
like
some good stuff aside too.
nice.
good.
That almost sounds like a giallo or something like that. Like three crates of jazz on like black velvet or something.
3 crates of jazz on a silver moon.
There you go. That's it.
Mm. Now, if only I knew how to transport my silver moon there.
The golden grasshopper hops at night.
Oh, yes. But yeah, and we'll also have, like I said, a lot of movies, a lot of books, and posters. So maybe some toys, some other odds and ends,
Nice.
whatever I could come up with. Mm-hmm.
Cool.
We're going into business to compete with Raven Shadow's store.
It's true.
The only difference is that you're doing it from about maybe 250 miles away.
Yeah, well, we travel all around the area, so that's the thing. That's where we can compete with them. We're on the move constantly.
It's true. Very nomadic.
So
yeah, and as far as like records and stuff, I think this weekend I'm going to be doing a thing called the Hassle Flea in Cambridge. If people look that up on like Instagram or Facebook or something, they'll find it. And it's a fun kind of like vintage and maker market that also has like bands playing and stuff. On the same day, Steph will actually be up in Portland, Maine at the Portland Record Show.
Oh,
those are both on Sunday.
Divide and conquer.
I know. And then next weekend on the Saturday, we're here in Providence at the Rock and Roll Yard Sale. And then on Sunday, we're in Albany at the Upstate New York Punk Market.
Crazy. Awesome.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
I mean, it's not, you guys are always crazy busy, but I mean, it's better than a 9 to 5, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's more enjoyable than having a real
get
job.
to travel, meet lots of people, and talk about cool stuff that you dig. So yeah, that's awesome.
Most days I don't have to worry about waking up at a set time.
Yeah. Raven Shadow, that's the fucking dream, right?
Yeah, like what the fuck am I doing wrong? Well, I've lots of things, but that's one of them.
Let's ask, what are you doing right? That might be an easier question.
Yeah.
I mean, it's nice that I get 4 or 5 days a week where I don't have to worry about setting an alarm.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you like that kind of thing, sure.
Yeah. Apparently, Raven Shadow hates that. He sets an alarm every day of the week, no matter what.
That's true. Sometimes multiple times. Ignore.
So let me catch up on the chat again. We have Evil Corny says, "Hey guys," and "Hey Angry Townsman." And then we have our pal Drake May, Patriots quarterback, is oh wait, it's not our pal. It's actually Drake May, the new Patriots quarterback, apparently. He says, "Greetings from the NFL draft in Detroit. I was told Trick or Treat Radio is must watch on Thursday nights. Looking forward to doing a Dunkin' commercial. I watched Late Night with the Devil in my hotel this morning. Looking forward to this." Look at that.
Nice.
The new quarterback of the Patriots. He was just drafted like minutes ago, and he's already like, finding about all the local local things to do.
Well, welcome aboard.
And Evil Corny says, better 3 crates of jazz than 3 crates of jizz. That's.
I don't know, man. If I could get some of those jizz records from the Jizz Whalers,
Did they ever press those on vinyl?
I don't know. I'm just figuring. I've never seen them. They got to be pretty rare.
Yeah, they
So if I
gotta
could
be.
get 3 crates of them,
You'd
but
make
are they
a.
all just that one song?
Boop, 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 boop.
You're muted,
MZ, you're muted. I can see you talking and just gesticulating.
Forget it.
It probably was a fucking killer joke too.
Yeah, it's not worth saying twice.
Well, we didn't hear it, so you didn't say it at all.
Believe me, I said it.
He's like, yeah, it was fucking terrible. It's the worst joke I ever told.
Yeah. I know my limits.
And Drake May, Patriots quarterback, says, "Did you know I throw frozen ropes like Peter North?" No, I didn't know that. Wow, I guess we'll see that in Foxborough this winter.
It's going to be a long season, I'll tell you that much.
Right into the arms of a 275-pound receiver.
I don't know if the FCC will allow that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Raven Shaft, can we get a scouting report on the new Patriots quarterback?
Yeah, we have our man Johnny Sins. Actually, speaking of frozen rope, he gave nothing but 5 stars on his report. Good pass rush, good hit for us.
Wait, pass rush
really good.
is what they do, like against quarterbacks. They rush the passer.
Yeah,
he rushes himself.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I'll tell you why, Johnny. Because just like the Rage Against the Machine song, you got to know your enemy. So you got to be able to do both sides.
Ah, gotcha. Okay, yeah, I
It's
see.
all
That
new.
makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a new era. Belichick's gone. We're trying some new things out.
Yeah, we're just gonna sack ourselves.
Yeah, we're gonna say.
All right. Well, there you go. I mean, I think that's the extent of the Patriots talk.
Go Drake.
Let's see. Raven Shadow. How? Oh, we're not supposed to make you laugh.
Oh,
True.
You can't laugh, right?
Oh, yeah, his eyes will explode, right?
yeah.
And what's
They'll come
the?
flying out of his head.
Yeah. Did you set the clock back on that sexual relations timer too?
Oh, fucking back to fucking yeah, back to fucking to high school all over again.
Did you grow your virginity back?
It just I was just shy of it, and but yeah, no. So I had my second eye done with the great Dr. Bling this past Tuesday. My left eye, but so here's the thing. Once again, great service at the hospital, but I was not a big fan of my pit crew this time around. You know what I mean? Like
Great
the
service.
No,
What's
you
that?
didn't have Dr. Bling?
Is she still there? But the ones that do the prepping,
Oh,
the
prepping.
fluffers.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Wait,
So,
what kind of surgery is this again?
I don't know what kind of surgery it was, but I'll tell you what it was. So they prep you and stuff, but they were more like really clinical. And
You want a
at one point-
personal touch.
Yeah, they were more like the crew before, the fluffers before were like, all right, we're doing this, and they were
They're
like,
not
yeah,
fluffers. Don't.
the people, the preppers,
Oh, God.
the preppers. You want to be a prepper too. Anyway, the ones who get you ready for surgery. And one woman, she's like, are you safe at home?
Are you
And I was like,
Nope.
you mean from the Germans? Like, should I be scared of them?
Fuck.
Didn't find me funny at all.
That's where you go. A joke
Yeah.
that is almost 100 years old.
Go to the Germans, dude.
Yeah.
Everything with you is about the Germans.
Yeah.
Well, I figured that my mom said I should have went for the Russian joke, but that was too easy. So, German's joke died.
Apparently not.
It just bombed, if you will. And then
You
she said,
should
"Well,
have
is
been
anyone
muted like MZ.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So that didn't work. And then there was a kerfuffle with am I going to stay in this room, not going to stay in this room, whatever. But it was very nice. Dr. Bling came in, tied my journey for me. Johnny for me. That was very nice. Very hands-on doctor, Dr. Bling. But everything went over good, like a success. The only thing was at the end when you're done, they take you to a wheelchair. They wheelchair you out into to your ride. My mom was picking me up, and once again, I wasn't really cutting it with the preppers, the prep crew, and so they put me on the wheelchair right in front of like this big glass window.
They put him on a gurney, and then he got moved to the fucking morgue by accident.
Yeah, and I had this like. Yeah, so then I had this like silver goggle on my eye for the surgery. So I feel like I'm under a fucking what do you call it, magnifying glass, like in the sun, like I'm melting, I'm like burning.
I'm melting.
I really want bacon, and there's no one here, so I just kind of go AWOL, and I left my wheelchair, and I just went by myself, kind of fucked up. But I found my mom, and she took me home.
First, she bought you cigarettes.
Yeah. I was going to say, did she bring you cigarettes? Because you can't smoke right now, right?
Yeah, she did. So I do have 2 packs over there waiting for
Yeah. She brought him. She brought him one of those giant Mylar balloons of a pack of Marlboros.
But no, I haven't smoked. I haven't drank anything. I got some cranberry juice here. I got a fucking bottle of water. But it's weird now. So like I'm trying to like read my phone. I'm like, I can't fucking see. But the reason why is because now I can read my phone from this angle. Look at this.
Oh, got a little bruising going on. Look at that. You look like a tough guy.
I am, a little red.
I don't think I've seen you without your glasses on, and maybe ever.
Yeah.
He actually has eyes. Look at that. And everyone watching, Raven Shadow actually has eyes.
I do.
Yeah.
They're brown.
I'm still not convinced.
He's got these little tiny eyeballs.
I'm surprised you didn't call him Beady.
If they were any smaller, they'd be on Patrick Swayze.
What?
The man is dead, Wolf Monster Zero. Come on now.
Got these beady little eyes. They're like little pebbles on his face.
Little eyes.
Don't pupil shame me, bro.
Yeah. It's not.
I'm not eye shaming.
No,
you.
you're pupil
just got
shaming.
All right, maybe I'm pupil shaming, but look, you got very small eyes.
Mario Van Pupils. Be a little sore. I gotta wear. I hate wearing the fucking eye shield gimmick. That sucks. But
you guys just got to a few more days with it.
Well,
yeah.
Wait, what's an eye shield? What's so different from an eye shield as opposed to what you're wearing right now?
Well, he wears
So
the
you gotta-
bed.
Yeah, I can get it, but you gotta tape it over your eye. So it's like a plastic shield. You gotta tape it with like medical tape, so you don't like rub your eye, at night and stuff.
Oh,
Yeah.
Is it just on? Is it on one eye or is it on both eyes? So you're like magooing all over the house.
No, I can't magoo yet because the pressures might cause my eyes to have issues. Once I get cleared, then I'll be magooing all over the house.
Magooing.
Check the ceiling, baby. No, it's like I've had to wear one for each eye, so
Yeah.
I should be able to not wear it as a Wednesday. It's like a
Okay,
little,
cool.
a little, yeah. But just in case, 'cause I have lenses put in. They don't stitch you in, so I have these, implants. But
Yeah, he can shoot
Yeah.
laser beams out of his eyes now.
I hope so.
Star Child.
Evil Corny says that last Modal Nodes album went Kyber a while back. That's a Star Wars joke. If you don't understand,
I was wondering if there was any English that I could understand in that.
I don't know what you just said, little kid, but you moved me.
Figuring Dan and the Modal Nodes, man, come on.
Oh, of course.
I mean, just from my experience, the most jizz is in A New Hope. That's all I can speak
It's
to.
true. It's full of it.
Yeah.
And Drake May, Patriots quarterback, says, I hope you heal fast, Mr. Raven Shadow. Mr. Kraft gave me a gift certificate to this place called Orchids of Asia. It sounds like you could use a day of relaxation.
Yes, that's a good place.
Yeah, because your fluffers didn't do a good enough job. Maybe the Orchids of Asia can.
That's true. We get some dunks on the way.
I would love to see that. I would love to see the Robert Kraft video.
No. Why? Why do you want
Yes,
to? You want to see an old man get a fucking HJ?
Yes.
Don't kink shame him.
Yeah.
If that's what he's into,
No,
that's what he's into.
that deserves kink
No.
shaming.
No. It's not exactly what I'm into. It's Robert Kraft. It's funny. It's funny. And I could just picture him, he's a short little guy and he's got a little bit of a pot belly. And I could just picture him, lying on the bed like this, or lying on the table or whatever it would be.
Just look
like
in a
this,
mirror.
and his whole body is starting to stiffen up as he's nutting.
What the fuck?
That's funny to me.
What the
See, the thing is,
fuck?
he says he's not into it, but he's clearly spent a lot of time thinking about it.
Yeah. No, he's spent a lot of time looking into a mirror doing it. Speaking of pot bellies.
Yeah. Where you leave the candles lit when you're wearing one of those shirts that have the white collar and the blue rest of it. It's like a grilled hot dog. Nothing better.
He's thinking. Look at that. I see smoke coming out of his ears. What the hell's going on?
What do you think's more of a better payoff? The AEW CM Punk video or the Robert Kraft video? Probably the Robert Kraft video.
Robert Kraft video.
Oh, man. Drake May, he says, eye shields protect you from frozen ropes, too.
Yes.
That's true. I mean, you never know when you're going to get hit by a frozen rope when you're asleep.
So I'm going to keep them. I'm going to keep them both.
Keep them.
Yeah.
All right. Angry Townsman says, no kink shaming, Wolfie. I'm sorry. I don't, I kink shame MZ. No one else. If they share the same kinks, that's just coincidence, I guess. So.
Oh, okay. And you have no kinks.
Well, I didn't say that. I'm just, you like to watch old men with pot bellies see their bodies tense up as they nut, so to speak.
No. Just Robert Kraft. Kraft.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Okay. Just one guy.
Some guy down the street. Yeah, because it's funny. Because
it's not weird, Wolfie, when it's one man.
That's right. That's right.
When
if
it's
two or more, then there's an issue.
When it's a billionaire who owns the Patriots, it's okay.
Goddamn straight. All right, so let's hear some of your kinks then. Dude.
No, thank you.
Oh, he keeps it secret.
It's secret. Yeah, no, I'm gonna say it on the fucking radio show.
Okay, so you do it, but you do have kink. All right, you don't have to say
it's
you do.
It's kink shaming you. That's my kink.
Yes, but now we're trying to kink shame. Yes, but now I'm trying to kink shame you. I'm trying to return the favor. So
tonight on Kink Talk,
what they are.
Wait,
you don't have to say what they are, but wait. You don't have to say what they are, but you do have kinks.
I mean, I got a kink in my neck.
Shut up, Raven Shadow. I'm trying to get an answer out of this.
I mean, I got a kink in my neck. You want to work it out?
He's walking all over it. He's not going to say anything.
So if he's trying to get me back, that means that watching Bob Kraft is a kink, apparently. Okay. Gotcha.
No, you guys assumed that it was a kink. You guys assumed that it was a kink, and you called it a kink. Not you guys. You Raven Shadow. Not you Raven Shadow. You Wolf.
They should change the name of the team to the New England Kink Shamers. Evil Corny says, since Raven Shadow has implants in his eye, will his pupils still be able to get erect?
I'm not sure that means what you think it means.
He has to put Viagra in his eyes, and Vieye, Viagra.
Yeah, definitely have some of those little blue drops.
Yeah.
Creepy girl just came in. Creepy girl just popped in and says, what the hell are they talking about?
Ah, shit.
Drake Mace.
Sorry, I brought the whole show down.
No, I think MZ did that. Drake May says, I will think of MZ's description every time I see Bob Kraft now. All right. So what else? Speaking of, I don't want to spend too much time on this because I know MZ hates AEW, but they had a pay-per-view this past weekend on Sunday, and I saw one of the greatest wrestling matches of all time. Bryan Danielson versus Will Ospreay was chef's kiss. Perfection. It was amazing. So you guys should check it out, both you guys. Josh, you don't have to watch it because I know you don't really like wrestling, but
All right, thanks.
but Raven Chow, I think you dig it.
I do want to see it. Yeah, that was on the pay-per-view?
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I'm down.
So, but yeah, it was a great show, and it was that match especially was fucking incredible. Also, MZ did I know you don't like Tony Khan, so this will probably be funny to you, but did you see him get beat up on? Last night was the first time that he really got involved in an angle, and he got the Meltzer driver, I think was the move. He got a move from the Young Bucks where they basically did like a spike pile. It was a tombstone spike pile driver by so the one of the Bucks gets him in a tombstone position, and the other one goes to the top rope, does a flip, and then pushes him down like to do into a spike. And so Tony Khan took one of those, and then Tony Khan's dad, Shad, came out to the ring, and he was pissed.
Oh no! Was that when did Jack Perry come out?
Well, yeah, that was the beginning of it all. Yeah,
beginning, right? Okay.
Because Jack Perry got suspended for the whole CM Punk thing, and this is the first time he's been on since All In, which was August, I think. So,
oh man,
yeah,
it's been like 8 months or 9 months, something like that.
Yeah. So, but I think it's going to lead to a cool angle. I don't want to talk too much about it because I know people don't give a fuck. But, Drake May said it was renamed the TK driver since last fall. That's right. When they became the EVPs, now it's instead of the Meltzer driver, it's the TK for Tony Khan. So he took his own move, I guess. But so now the faction, the elite now is the Young Bucks, Kazuchika Okada, and Jack Perry.
Okay.
And it's pretty fucking awesome faction. So
did you guys see, and I do want to check out that match, am I right that there's going to be a Rob Zombie produce Kruger or Fred
I
TV
think that
show?
was a hoax.
Was it a hoax?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
That makes more sense because I figured we'd be talking about that more.
Speak.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is tangentially related to Rob Zombie, but I saw Motley Crue has signed a new record deal, and the funny thing is, I saw him on their retirement tour.
Which one?
Yeah, I know. I think it was like 2014 or something like that. It was like their final fucking tour. But so now the Rob Zombie connection is that John 5 is now a guitarist in Motley Crue. They basically kicked Mick Mars out, and John 5 took over. He was the guitarist for Rob Zombie's band for the last several years.
Okay.
So,
Well, I understand that Mick Mars hasn't been feeling very well lately.
No, he hasn't, and I think they took that opportunity to kick him out, even though he didn't want to leave.
Yeah, because I don't remember that situation, but Mick Mars has had some terminal illness for a long time.
Yeah.
And I think that's why they did the final tours.
Okay. So this is technically like another, I mean, it's still Motley Crue, but it's a different version of Motley Crue,
Yeah.
But Vince is still singing.
If you call that singing.
Chicken dinner.
I understand Bob Dylan more than than Vince Neil now. Jesus Christ.
Wow. They were great on the Dr. Feelgood tour, man. When Warren opened up, it was really a good show at the Centrum Center.
I saw
Centrum
them.
Center.
I saw them back in '97 during Generation Swine. That album.
Was that when John
that
Corabi was singing? Or was Vince Neil still singing?
It was Vince. It was
Okay.
Vince. And let's the opening act was Cheap Trick.
Oh, nice.
Oh, wow.
It seems
Yeah.
like it should have been the other way around, but at the time, Motley Crue was bigger, obviously. But
Yeah.
Cheap Trick has been around since the 70s.
And I saw Vince Neil perform solo. Opening act. He was an opening act.
KFC.
Huh?
At KFC, he opened up.
Oh, yeah.
KFC.
Oh, look at him. The guy is shaped like a Twinkie. Look at him, for Christ's sake.
Jesus.
Christ. And let's
That's-
see. He was an opening act for ZZ Top at Great Woods.
You should not throw stones, MZ, okay?
Throw Twinkies instead.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, man. Here, I got this picture of Shad Khan, Tony Khan's dad. Let me just push it live. Can you guys see it? He showed
Oh,
up.
is his dad?
Yeah, it's his dad. Yeah. And
Oh my
Looks like
God!
the,
You know what? You know what? I always wondered what happened to that. You all right? I learned it by watching you. That's the dad.
that's not the dad.
That
He
is
looks
the
like
dad.
the Indian George Costanza dad, like Papa
Indian?
Costanza.
The Indian George Costanza. It's I was listening to Brian Alvarez from oh my God, the Wrestling Observer, and he was saying that he's like I want to see more Shad Khan. It looks like he's a fucking 70s heel. It does, doesn't it?
Oh, look.
He normally has like the upturned. Oh, I could see that. That's funny. I mean, that guy's clearly like Italian, the one that you're showing, and Shad Khan is, I don't know. Actually, don't even know what their nationality is, but yeah. So I don't want to guess, but the Khans are definitely not American or Italian.
Fair. I think it's bad to put him in the storyline.
Well, we don't know if he's in the storyline. He just showed up as like a shock. Like what the fuck are they
Yeah,
doing?
But there's got to be a reason why he was there.
Well, they were in Jacksonville, like
And the Jaguars.
Yeah,
where
that's-
Yeah, but
he
still, it's
owns
I mean,
owns
this
the
isn't their
Jaguar.
this isn't their first show in Jacksonville, is it?
No, during the pandemic, that's the only place they ran was Jacksonville. But
Yeah.
it's the first time they've been back there in a while. So I think it's just happenstance. I don't think he's going on the road with AEW.
Not gonna have a strap match.
It's his backup career.
Yeah, Drake May says Sheiky Baby 2.0. He does. I'm pretty sure he has like the upturned like mustache,
Yeah. He's got the
You young buck jabronis.
You motherfucker.
I fuck your ass. You hit my son. I make you humble.
Kazuchika
Jumping Jack
Okada,
Perry.
I fuck your ass. Make you humble. Jumping Jack Perry.
Break your back.
I break your back. Jumping
You
Jack
get
Perry.
fucked by all the Jaguars. You get very humble.
Drake May says Mick Mars was taken by the Catholic Church and is on display in the Vatican.
Oh no.
Oh, shit. All right. We should probably start to wrap up because I really want to get into this film discussion and see what everyone thinks. So let's see. Is there anything else? Anything else you guys want to talk about in the intro here before we start to wrap up?
I think
Not
we
really.
No?
Covered
our
it?
thing.
All right. So let's start to wrap it up. So for those that are Patreon supporters, we just released a new Patreon episode, and it was the Bad Kids of Horror. So we did the Bad Dads last year. Now we've done the Bad Kids, and we may or may not have done the Bad Moms of Horror coming up soon. So Yeah, it was a fun discussion. As you guys know, it is kind of a trope, the evil, annoying, or evil and or annoying kid in horror movies. So we talked about some of our favorites and some of the best ones. So you can check that out. That's on the Patreon now. So if you're not already a supporter, you can join for as little as $2 a month. That's it. Just $2. And you get all the exclusive episodes. We are now 55 episodes in. And it goes and then it goes up from there. You can get in the $2 tier, $5 tier, $10 tier. $10 tier will get you into the get your own Patreon takeover. So you can do your own takeover, pick 2 films for us to discuss, and come on the show and chat about them with us if you want. Or if you don't want to, that's also fine. We've had people pick movies and just have us talk about them without coming on. So let's see. Drake May says Elite are trying to pull a pseudo NWO Bullet Club gimmick. Yeah, I could see they're trying to be more heelish and to go after the establishment or the boss, so to speak. So We'll see. So give it a look. Check out Patreon, patreon.trickortreatradio.com. And if you are still a little bit on the fence, you can go to that site and then just go ahead and you can follow us for free. And you can see all the things that we post. And if it looks exciting to you, then you can join at a later date. So give it a look, patreon.trickortreatradio.com. Also, on trickortreatradio.com, you can go to the main page, scroll down, look for the Amazon logo, click on it. It's going to bring you right to Amazon. It's going to input our affiliate link, and everything you purchase in that session gets attributed to us. Doesn't cost them any extra, Michael Ravenshadow.
But it's another way to help keep the lights on.
There you go. So that helps. We get a little cut, and it doesn't cost you anything. Finally, if you go to trickortreatradio.com, click on store, it's going to bring you to the digital store, and from there you can buy the greatest hits of Trick or Treat Radio Volumes 1 through 3. And it's a little sampler of the early years of Trick or Treat Radio. If, we're on episode 613, that means we've done 613 consecutive weekly episodes. That still kind of blows my mind. Haven't missed a single one yet, knock on wood, right? And it's been going 11 plus years coming. Holy shit, are we coming up on 12 or is it 11 that we're coming up on?
12.
God damn it.
Holy
fucking
shit.
Shoot me. It's almost, the show's almost a teenager.
Oh my God.
So coming up on 12 years, we don't expect that everyone's going to go back and listen to all these fucking episodes. So if you guys want to hear some of the early days, then you can go ahead and check out those greatest hits. And they're $3 a pop, and there's 3 volumes. So give them a look. All right. So we're going to wrap this segment up. We're going to get to the film discussion. I'm excited about this. But before we do that, we got to find out, Michael Ravenshadow, what did you do to prepare for Late Night with the Devil?
Ooh. Well, he's mentioned a little bit what happened, surgery, yada, yada, yada. But, and the detox, not smoking, not drinking, not other verbs. So you know what? I just want to, sell my soul for some rock and roll and a few other things, if you know what I'm saying. So you better believe. Glad Josh is here. Big ups to Satan, and I'm ready to strap on.
Retro Reductopus Cephala Podcast, the bi-weekly show that celebrates all the things that made growing up awesome.
He's right. We wax philosophic about lots of geeky crap like old video games and movies, toys, cartoons. I don't know, help me out here.
Music, pants, quoting video games that don't have dialogues, shabibans, tasty news,
Unnecessarily long Japanese onomatopoeia.
butt breathers, uncomfortable nature facts.
or how to install a Samoflange.
And unlike all those other podcasts, we at Retro Redoctopus have an exciting rotating host schedule.
Do we?
We sure do. So, if you didn't like the guy flapping his gums this week,
Like me.
worry not, gentle listener. Next week, we'll have a whole new host.
Of problems.
Hey, they might still suck, but they'll suck differently.
And you know what's really cool? Retro Reductopus is part of the Inebriard Podcast Network, with new episodes out every Tentacle Tuesday.
Which is like every other Tuesday. We named it.
Anyways, you can listen to us at iTunes, Google Play, Spotify,
Thank you
Stitcher,
guys for having me on. It's a blast. You guys are awesome.
Thank you so much.
And, Trick or Treat Radio, man. That's where it's at. That's the new Fangoria Radio is Trick or Treat Radio.
Don't say that.
It's like, you really put us under.
It's like swearing in church. I don't know.
You just jinxed us.
Yeah. you put a lot on our shoulders just now.
Well, we can strive for greatness.
You guys are awesome.
Yeah,
you really are. You got a great show.
You go through your week with the same old routine.
What you really want is some blood and thunder in your life.
Well, friend, you found it.
The Cromcast is an adventurous journey through the history of two-fisted pulp stories.
With your hosts, John,
Josh,
and Luke.
We have action,
horror,
and adventure, all through the lens of pulp luminary Robert E. Howard.
Don't just stay in your ordinary life.
Find your pulp life at thecromcast.blogspot.com.
The Cromcast.
The Cromcast.
The Cromcast.
A podcast for the barbarian at heart.
Hey, you matzo heads. This is Larry Fine, and you're listening to Trick or Treat Radio.
And we have returned on Trick or Treat Radio. And it is time to talk about our film for the week. And this week's film is Late Night with the Devil. This film's rated R. It is 93 minutes long. And it saw some festivals in 2023, but got an official theatrical and streaming release in 2024. And it is a horror film written and directed by Cameron and Colin Cairns. And let me take a look here. So I know I've heard of the Carns. I'm not quite sure how to.
I couldn't see what they sounded familiar from, so maybe I was just imagining that.
Let's see here. That's weird. Something must be up with IMDb because I can't
open things.
Yeah, I can't click on the drop downs. I wonder if their app is working better. But the website.
They were involved in a movie called 100 Bloody Acres.
Okay.
That sounds familiar.
Scare Campaign was the one that stood out to me that I had heard of. I think, if I recall, I think we almost did that on the show. That's probably why I heard of it. But we didn't. I know we didn't end up doing it. So
yeah, but nothing's really striking me as I know exactly what that is.
Yeah. So it is. I mean, it is a little weird for this, brother directing duo to kind of come out of seemingly nowhere,
right?
To do this film here, and to have a pretty good buzz and some good praise around it, and I think that I'm guessing it just was such a good idea or such a cool idea that people really gravitated towards it. So I think that's probably what the deal is with this. So, but yeah, they don't have a pedigree of, of films that have been widely successful in horror. Although Creepy Girl says 100 Bloody Acres is awesome. All right, cool.
I know the title seemed familiar, but I don't think I've seen it.
Yeah, I know I haven't seen it. So, but yeah, 100 Bloody Acres, that was from 2012. Let's see. Reg and Lindsay run an organic fertilizer business. They need a fresh supply of their secret ingredient, finger quotes, to process through the meat grinder. Reg comes across two guys and a girl with a broken down vehicle on their way to a music festival. I wonder what happens to them. So
I think he helps them with their vehicle, and they're along on their way.
yeah, he gets them to the concert on time.
Yes. And then he can go about his day solving his other issue.
There you go. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's probably exactly how it went. Angry Townsman says, Frelling Chrome crashed on me. Goddamn Chrome. Okay, so let me go through the rest here. We have the film stars David Dalsmachian, Laura Gordon, Ian Bliss. We'll talk about Ian Bliss in a second. It took me maybe 10 minutes to figure out how I knew him. And then when it hit me, I was like, oh, yeah, okay. Faisal Bazi, Ingrid Torelli as Lily, and Reese Autori as Gus, the fucking awesome Gus. And let's see. Yeah, there's a few other folks here, but we'll cap it there. And the synopsis for this one: a live television broadcast in 1977 goes horribly wrong, unleashing evil into the nation's living rooms. All right, so Late Night with the Devil. Let's go ahead and do some first impressions on this one. So, is anyone dying to go? I don't want to like step on toes if anyone else wants to go first. No, okay. Well, I'll go first. MZ, you want to?
Yeah, sure. Why
All
not?
right, go ahead, go for it. Let's hear your first impressions of this film.
All right. Yeah. When I first heard of this film, I'm thinking, okay, whatever. I didn't know the plot or anything. Okay, just another movie. Then when I heard the setting and the time frame that this takes place, I'm like, I am so dialed in. I don't know what's going to happen. I still don't know what it's about, but from what I understood, it took place late 70s TV show and talk show. And I'm like, I'm all over this. I don't know what the plot is going to be, but I'm all over it.
Yeah.
Because when you got, let me see. Josh, how old are you?
47.
Okay, so you're roughly the same age as the other two. See, I'm 52. Okay, I have a very distinct, memory of the late 70s, and it looked a lot like that. Just the ghastly colors scheming and the wood paneling and the whole deal. It's just, it was ugly, but it was the fashion at the time. So films of this type resonate with me probably a little bit better, because I was around at the time and I was aware of my surroundings at that time, so I knew what was going on.
Yeah.
Even though I was only like maybe 6 or 7 years old. But when I heard about this film, I was like, okay, I am dialed in. You got my attention. I've seen Dalmatian, if I'm pronouncing that right.
Yeah, I think in the past I've said Dalmachian, but I think it's Dastalmachian. Dastmalchian.
101 Dalmatians.
Dastmalchian.
Well, yeah.
There you go.
101. I'm sure he's never heard that before, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, I've seen him before in other things. He's done other movies. Let's see. He was on the Fangoria Awards, like 2023 Fangoria Awards on Shudder. So I've seen this guy before, but I didn't know how strong his work was. I didn't know how extensive his work in horror was. but having him as the host, it works. He has that look. He has the hair that doesn't move. He has he's an affable character. And then when I got around to hearing about what the plot is, I am like, oh, I am so dialed in on this. Now, I mean, yeah, it's going to have the look. Now I got to see what form is that look going to take, because it could be either on tape or it could be on, it could be on film rather, or it could be on tape. So we'll talk about that a little bit more as we go along. But I was really impressed with just how stylized, just the stage presentation that they had looked, and how everybody looked really. They really encompassed that strong late 70s vibe.
Yeah, totally.
It was very strong. I will admit, though, there is a little bit of CGI involved that kind of fucks with you for a little bit, but overall the film itself just looks fantastic.
It's funny. So I'll bring this up now just so I don't forget. But I actually had a problem with that CGI bit, and it's funny. I talked with Tanya about it after we watched it, and she actually brought up a really good point. This is still sort of like a low budget picture, and I wonder if they didn't want to ruin the set. And that was what she thought. And I was like, you know what? That's probably why. Because honestly, you would think that doing it practical probably would have been cheaper,
Yeah.
Well, that's the excuse for everything, so especially when it comes to practical effects, that's the excuse for everything. It's cheaper and you don't have to clean anything up,
Well, no, I think practical would have been cheaper. I think practical would have been cheaper to do the gag. But then you have to clean up the set. So
or like as you were saying, they might have had to be careful of it because maybe it wasn't their set.
True. That's a good point.
Maybe they were using leftovers or things that belong to another company for another production.
That's fair. So in that case, it would make more sense to me that if it was for reasons of saving money for cleaning the set, or like Josh said, that absolutely makes sense to me. But it just didn't look good. Like everything about this movie screamed 70s except for that.
Right.
Yeah. And it's very noticeable. That's it kind of takes you out of that for a moment, but it is rather noticeable. What I did like, and I guess I could bring this up as the review continues. I'm going to save it for that because I found this to be highly interesting stuff.
Yeah.
But we'll just go on to someone else. But I got a couple things to bring up I find very interesting.
All right. Josh, how about you? Do you want to go ahead and give your first impressions for this flick? Did you see this in the theater? I forget.
I did. I saw this a few weeks ago in the theater. And I very much like the story. I think that, as MZ was saying, I think a lot of the period, like details, are wonderfully done. It seems very faithful, and most things seem, I'm guessing are correct for the time, and yeah, I thought, especially like the acting and the story is what really carry it. Because it's such a well constructed story, and everybody's doing a fantastic job.
All right. Raven Shadow, how about you? First impressions?
Yeah, so going in, I didn't know. I just knew the basic premise. And again, like MZ, I was definitely on board. And one thing I do want to say, when did this is fairly new to VOD or streaming or whatnot, right? VOD, I believe, right?
Yeah, it just came out last week.
All right.
It has been in theaters for about 6 weeks, though.
Okay. I just struggle with, I'm sure we're going to do our best, but I would say if you do want to see this movie, despite us trying our best, stop and watch it and then come back, just because I think we're going to have to
stop, drop, and roll.
Or collaborate and listen. Or collaborate and view the film.
Or corroborate and listen.
Corroborate. Speaking of callback, John Corroborate. John Corabi.
John Corabi, yeah.
John Corabi. Hooligan's Holiday. Not a bad track on that record. But listen, watch the movie and come back to us is what I would say. But so I guess I didn't know it was going to be I mean, would you call this this is found footage, not POV, but this is
not really, because it was broadcast. Yeah, it was broadcast.
Mockumentary.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if it's not really a mockumentary either. It's just live television.
It was live. Yeah. It was.
But they give you the whole documentary intro, and then they splice together the television broadcast and the behind the scenes.
That's true too.
Yeah, they say they got the footage.
Yeah,
that's true too. By the way, speaking of which, did you guys see what see who did the narration for the documentary?
Oh yes.
Yeah, Michael Ironside.
Yeah, Michael Ironside.
Yeah,
I'm like, holy shit.
I didn't recognize the voice though. I saw it in the credits.
Yeah, I didn't catch it either.
I'm surprised I didn't.
I'm like, wait, unless it's a different Michael Ironside, but
it can't be. No one else would dare to fucking try to use that name.
Yeah. You got some balls, asshole, if you think you could go with my Michael Ironside.
Was there anything else for him, Channel?
But yeah, so I mean, I didn't know it was that going to take that spin on it, but yeah, I was interested, and I really liked the setup that Michael Ironsides told us about to get us there, which I definitely want to go back to as we discuss further.
All right, so my first impression, like I've said, or I think I said it earlier, this was one of my most anticipated films of the year. I've been hearing so many good things, and just couldn't wait to finally get a chance to see it. And I think David Dastmalchian is a very interesting actor, and I feel like he's still kind of an untapped source of just, I don't know, just an untapped talent, I guess is the way to put it, because I feel we've only seen a glimpse of what he can do, and all those glimpses that I've seen have so far been very good. Like, I thought he was phenomenal as Polka Dot Man in Suicide Squad, and you know what? Like, he wasn't given a lot in terms of like well, I guess in a way he was given a lot, but he was a bit of a one-note character, and then he had the whole mom thing, but I thought that was done exceptionally well in the way he reacted. So there's something compelling about him to me that I feel we're just beginning to scratch the surface of his talent. And I feel in this, we got a really good glimpse of what he could potentially do as a leading man. And I'm on board. I need more. Like, I thought he was fucking awesome in this. Like, compelling, charismatic. Like, I was completely zoned into his performance all the way through this movie. So as far as that goes, I thought he was fucking great. I thought the tertiary characters were awesome. Like, I loved Christou and what was Gus was awesome, and
Gus was amazing.
Carmichael, the Conjurer. And then Dr. June and Lily, like even his producer, like the backstage guy with the curly hair and the glasses, all the characters in this I thought were just so like spot on. And I don't know that I've seen a period piece from the 70s like recently that was so spot on as this.
Yeah.
I thought everything was they fucking nailed it. They nailed that feel. And everything about it, like even just like down to the colors and the sets and the costumes and the people in the audience and just everything, like I think they fucking just nailed it.
And even the intro medley of the show is like the classic, the animal guest. Like, oh, where's
Right,
the wolf
right.
spider? It's
Yeah.
gone.
Oh, yeah. I love that came
The
up
skits,
again.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I thought that the introduction to this movie, the sort of the documentary style introduction, I thought was great. Like I loved the setup. It was straight to the point, and then once we got there, they played the entire show, basically from start to finish. So I thought that was really well executed, and it gave you enough. Like at the beginning, they sort of talked about the Grove, which was actually a real thing, and Tanya Tanya had actually pointed that out to me as well.
Bohemian Grove.
Yeah.
Well, that's one of the things I want to talk about that I found interesting is that they took that straight from something called I don't know if you ever heard of it or not, the Skull and Bones Club. Yeah, and if you haven't heard of the Skull and Bones Club, it's a high-end, highfalutin club hidden somewhere in this country that entertains politicians, high-end celebrities, people of very, very, very high importance, important businessmen, CEOs of corporations.
Is it on Epstein's Island?
But there was a movie, the Skulls, that did this with the kid from the non Vanderbeek from Dawson's Creek was on that.
Oh, you're a poet, didn't know it.
But the Bushes were there.
Yeah, and it's that they say they've done sacrifices there. There's not they've said, but there's been rumors that sacrifices have been taking place there. There's like altars and shit like that. It's really interesting. I'd love to check it out, but I'm not a CEO or a politician or a celebrity, so I can't.
We don't get in those rooms. But there was the dude who was on Talking Jericho a couple years ago, maybe last year, that talked about it, about the Bohemian Grove, and it's dudes only. One of those gimmicks. You know, you go for days. A big thing is peeing on stuff, being able to pee in the wild, which is a reason how they were able to get make sure girls can't come. Well, we pee on a lot of things, what we're into.
I wonder if they have screen windows. I wonder if they have screen windows set up, Raven Shadow, to pee through.
No, but there's a shower every few hundred yards.
Talk about Mike kinks, huh?
Yeah, there was a girl there, Wolfie.
Wow, a real girl.
But really weird stuff. Even how the old people there talking about the Manhattan Project. It's even Clint Eastwood was said to have been there, and you don't know who you're gonna room with. There's talk of having tunnels underneath. There's even talk around 4 a.m, screams at night, really diabolical type shit. It's supposed to be in the Redwood, California area.
Yeah.
Really fucked up.
Yeah, so
to be specific, the Bohemian Grove is at 20601 Bohemian Avenue, Monte Rio, California.
Road trip.
It is listed online as a.
Can we do a live Trick or Treat Radio?
As a 2,700 acre restricted campground.
I can only imagine the inhumane shit that goes on in that place. Jesus Christ. I can't even begin to imagine.
So
on the nipple.
So this movie was also sort of in the vein of if you guys have seen Ghostwatch or WNUF Halloween special, sort of like a live broadcast. But let me see what else I can say. So the thing I liked about it is it presented a fictional scenario based on reality. He's struggling to beat Johnny Carson, so everyone can relate to that, right? Johnny Carson had a big show And so I think everyone can relate to that. And then I like that about it because it gives you this real scenario, but puts in this fictional take on it so that you can immediately identify with it. It's not like, oh, he's trying to beat, like Drake May, Drake May's fucking late night talk show. And you're like, who's that? And why do we care? It's literally name dropping Johnny Carson and talking about how he got close to beating him in the ratings, and then all this shit happened. His wife died, and and the ratings kept going down and down. Now it's sweeps week. He's got to try something to get the fucking, to get all the, what am I trying to say? The ratings, the ratings, and the commercials, the
advertisers.
Yeah, sponsors. Thank you, Josh. That's what I was looking for exactly. So, so they definitely try to do something a little overboard with this. They try to do something different and unique to really try to stand out. And I think they get that. And so I like that scenario. I thought that it was a good move to do that, because even if you didn't grow up in the 70s, I mean, most of us, MZ had already sort of talked about it, but like I was born in 76, so I wasn't even really aware of what was happening in the 70s, but we have that touchstone, right? We can go back and say, oh yeah, of course I remember Johnny Carson. We remember all this stuff, because we heard about it or we saw him in the 80s,
Oh, for sure. I mean, as of now, we're all 47, the three of us, aside from MZ. But yeah, we definitely knew Johnny was still the shit, even as kids, at least in pop culture too. So, TV shows would reference it. It was Johnny.
Right. And even if you don't know, you can even just look up Johnny Carson on fucking Wikipedia and find all you need to know. So I thought that was really smart to do that. So for me, I like the setup. I like the scenario. I liked how they had this already. It was compelling because he's trying to pull out all the stops. And, he was a former, I think, radio host in Chicago, and, they had sort of put him on TV, and, he started to do really well for himself. And so, yeah, that's basically the premise here. And then we start the show, and I love the behind the scenes stuff when they cut to commercial. I'd actually wondered if they were going to show commercials. Like, I thought they would show like commercials from the 70s, which could have been fun. But you know what? Like this was much more compelling because the commercials wouldn't really have, there's not much you could have done in terms of advancing the story. But I love the conversations he had with like the producer or with June or whatever. I thought those are really good insight. And Gus, like the one he had with Gus, like really good insight into what's going on, and added even more tension, especially when they find out about Christu, that stuff. So really great setup, great premise. And, I think we'll dive in and start talking about whether or not it worked beyond that, but great setup and great look of the film, everything. I think they had a lot going for it heading in. I didn't miss anyone, right? Everyone did their first impression. All right. So let's dive in and start talking a little bit more. MZ, was there some things you wanted to jump in right away, or do you want to hold off until we get there?
Well, we can start talking. I mean, I'll just blend right in. So, but I love how the fact that he's a really affable character. And I'm speaking of Delroy. Is that his name?
Jack Delroy, yeah.
Jack Delroy. I like how Delroy is a very affable character, very likable character. He's almost the lovable loser, really. Like we talk about, his wife passes away, and he's constantly trying to chase Carson in the ratings, and he's been on the air for like 7 years at this point, or 6 years at this point, and he still can't beat him. So I love the fact that he's kind of like, I don't want to say, because his wife dies, he's a loser. He's not, but in a professional sense, he's a lovable loser. He's a likable guy, but he just can't seem to unseat the king. And the fuck is going on over there? Oh, hell's breaking loose.
You're
Knock
trying to
this shit
summon the
off.
fucking devil over there. What the hell?
But again, we'll go back to the look of this film because it does look fantastic. Although I will admit, there's a side of me that wishes it was tape. That I wish it was videotape, because it has that. I don't know. When you watch Johnny Carson's show, it's done on videotape, and so it has that. There's an openness about it. You know, it doesn't have a soft focus like on film does,
Mm-hmm.
and the colors pop just a little bit more. Although I do like the idea that the colors here are kind of muted a little bit. I think if it was put on tape, it would pop a little bit more, and I think the effects that we would see would jump out a little better. But I'm not complaining. It's just an observation. But another thing I want to talk about is the guy who played the skeptic.
Ian Bliss. He played Carmichael.
Carmichael, yeah. That guy, okay, this is also what I want to talk about, and I don't know if you guys know about this. He's a spin on James Randi, if you ever heard of James Randi. All right, good. All right, Josh knows James Randi. James Randi was a magician. He was a prestidigitationist, and then he got out of it, much like Carmichael, and he starts to doubt the abilities of other people, whether it be talking to the dead or telekinesis or anything like that. And this James Randi character, he would offer up a check for $1 million of his own money to disprove, or rather not to disprove, but for them to prove that what they are doing is authentic. And he did it for many, 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 many years and never came across an actual person who's willing to do it. Sylvia Brown, the famous hand palm reader, whatever, foreseeing the future.
Hand jobist. The famous hand jobist.
She said that she would take on the challenge. Then, like, just before she was going to go on, she backed out. There's this one guy. His name is let me look it up here. I got it right here. Yeah, James Heydrich. He tried to perform telekinesis by moving pages of a phone book without the use of his hands. And James Randi, they're on TV, live television, and he puts fucking like styrofoam chips all around the phone book, and he's daring him to do it because he thinks he's blowing on it. And and Heydrich is never able to do the job. He's not able to do the trick because he's claiming that the electric lights are messing with the styrofoam chips, and they're weighing the paper down in the phone book. So he's trying to think of every possible way to get himself out of this jam that he's got himself into. But anyway,
sounds like a real Kenneth Keith Kallenbach situation.
It's on YouTube. You could find it. It's right there. His name is James Heydrich, Hydrick, and it's fascinating. It's so much fun to watch these guys just fail. And so the James Randi reminds me so much of this Carmichael character, because he's an exact duplicate, and he's just trying to force people to look. You're a bullshit artist. Admit it, and I'll pay you $100,000 if you do admit it.
Bullshit artist. Bullshit artist.
Or I'll give you $100,000 if you prove what you do is actually authentic. But I found that part to be fascinating, absolutely fascinating.
Yeah,
because I've read up on Heydrich and James Randi, and it's just an incredible, and it's not just Heydrich, it's a whole bunch of other people he's done this to.
yeah.
So.
I mean, that's an era of television that I don't think we'll ever see again. I mean, we don't even see that stuff like necessarily on YouTube or whatever. But you know, that was an interesting time of like trying to sort of like, you know, like magic too, right? Like talk about like
Doug Henning.
Yeah. Or fucking
Doug Henning, the mustache guy.
Doug Henning and what's that fucking famous magician? He made the fucking Empire no, not Empire State.
David Copperfield.
David Copperfield, yeah. Copperfield.
Copperfield. Did you hear they mentioned Carmichael referenced the Warrens too?
Yeah.
Another bunch of bullshit artists.
So yeah, I mean that it was a really interesting time for television because television was still, I guess, kind of in its infancy. I mean, it had been like 20, 30 years since people had had the ability to have TV. And even then, it took I don't know when TVs became commonplace. Maybe it was the 60s. Maybe it was even the 70s. I'm not even sure. But like computers, at my house, we had a computer in the mid 90s, but I know a lot of other houses didn't have them until 2000s, and other people had them in the early 90s, or late 80s. So it's really it depends on, I think your situation and stuff, but computers weren't something that was in every single household until the 2000s, I would say. But as for TVs, I mean, I guess I can look it up and find out, but in the 70s, that was still kind of a novel thing, I'd say. It's still fairly new that people would gather around the TV, and it was kind of a destination, right?
I mean, we definitely would have the one, but I mean, too, in terms of shows, you're looking at not only the shows that we mentioned, but you're looking at In Search Of. You're looking at Ripley's Believe It or Not. I'm just saying over the course of time, all the Bigfoot, sightings, it was kind of a glorious time for grifting and for some of that supernatural, just different stuff. Photos, Nessie photo probably popped up.
That's incredible.
Time.
That's incredible. Yeah. So
love that shit.
I just found out in 1950, only 9% of American households had a television set, but by the 1960s, the figure had reached 90%. So in the 60s, I don't know exactly what year, but in the 60s, that's when people started to that was part of their home life, was having a television. Yeah. So by the 70s, it's still fairly new, right? Maybe 10, 15 years for some people. So the medium itself, was still growing and expanding and trying new things. So at this point in time, yeah, if you find a good gimmick, fucking run with it, right? So if you can try to dispel rumors of magic and things like that, that was probably super interesting at the time,
Because look how much your audience now, by that being that many houses, also had so many different potential viewers. It wasn't just mom and dad. You had Billy and kids and grandma and shit.
Yeah. Evil Corny said, I had an Apple IIe in the 80s. Wow, look at you. Lucky fuck.
Oh.
Apple computer in the 80s. And he said, I remember people not having color TVs in the early 80s. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, 70s, it was still probably mostly black and whites. So, yeah. So, I think that it was an interesting time. And for people, I could see people younger folks watching this who grew up with the internet, maybe not quite understanding the impact that this would have had on the public in the 70s, right? This would have been something where if you were watching this, you might have called your friends and been like, are you watching, Jack Delroy Night Owls right now? You got to fucking watch this. You got to turn this on, Whereas you couldn't send a fucking link and have someone could watch it later, because if you're not watching it live, you're not going to watch this because there's no VCRs at the time. If you didn't watch it live, you missed it.
Mhm.
So, I think it's an interesting time, and they didn't really talk too much about the ratings. They did a little bit. The ratings were doing good, but they didn't talk about numbers. Like, I wonder how many people would have seen this if this was a legit thing. I wonder how many people would have seen this. Probably like potentially millions of homes, maybe.
Yeah.
Because at the time there was only 3 networks. This is a fictional 4th network, so it's you were watching in if you're taking this into account, you're watching one of 4 channels basically, and that's it. So yeah, it was an interesting time, and I love that they said it here, and I think that it was just a really rife for this sort of story to be told. I would have liked to have seen maybe a little bit of the aftermath of like what people thought of watching it. Like, I think that would be interesting, but they didn't, it was just the actual episode you got to see, but we didn't really get to see what people thought of it. That I thought would have been really interesting.
Yeah, like follow-up interviews at the end.
Yeah.
From the people in the audience too.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's
like interviews from the audience, from like when the police come by in the ambulances and the fire trucks or whatever, and news crews, and they come by and they start interviewing the audience, and they give their account as to what happened.
Yeah,
because even the audience looked great.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, they did a great job.
The attention to detail here is really outstanding. Right down, hairstyles, wardrobe. They didn't really skip a beat here. It's incredible. They did a really fantastic job here.
Yeah, no, I mean, I couldn't agree more. Like, I feel like they really went all out to make this feel as legit as possible. At least my recollection of what a talk show in the 70s would have been like. And even the set wasn't even that elaborate, right? Like the chairs, like they had just kind of like, like they weren't even like the big, like plush chairs. They were just kind of like simple chairs.
Delroy didn't even have a desk. He just sat.
Yeah.
Kind of like on the idea of what Dick Cavett. I think he just sat in a chair without a desk. And Dick Cavett's show was really great. I think they got some shows on YouTube, not on YouTube, on Tubi. So I checked those out.
And I was trying to think of some of the guys who were the other like mid-card guys from back then. There was Dick Cavett. There was Tom Snyder.
Yep.
And I thought it was funny too. This show was called Night Owls, so it wasn't even named after him. Like, I almost thought it was almost like a precursor to like a Letterman, where it was like at the after show, like the late show.
Yeah.
But obviously, it was competing with Carson.
Yeah. So let's talk about some of the stuff that happens without giving too many spoilers away. So first off, he comes out, he does his intro. I thought it was really funny. Like, I love him playing playing with Gus when he showed up as fucking as a ghost. Like, I thought that was great.
Yeah.
That was funny.
Yeah. The banter between those two is outstanding. It's fantastic. It felt, I started laughing in points with their jokes and their back and forth, and Gus is taking it and Jack is hurling it, and it was just hysterical. It felt very, very genuine.
Yeah.
It definitely felt like they had been doing that for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Like, it felt like there was history there.
Yeah, I would agree with that, because I mean, I think at the time, they had been doing the show for almost 5 years. It was coming up on 5, because he had a 5-year contract. But so and in it, they're doing a Halloween show. It's the beginning of Sweeps Week. It's on Halloween, like it's broadcast on October 31st. And so he first brings out Christu, who is like a mentalist, right? And so he can commune, a medium. He can commune with the dead, and so he comes out and he's like listening, and he hears some voices, and he tries to connect with them to see if anyone in the audience knows the voices he's hearing and whatever. And so the first one was just kind of funny. Like it didn't really, it was like Peterson, he's like Peterman, like that whole bit. And the guy in the crowd was just trying to like fucking troll him,
Yeah.
Well, I think if you pay attention to the behind the scenes, like the guy in the crowd was a plant from the show to mess with him.
Oh, you know what? I didn't even pick up on that. Okay.
Because there's some back and forth between Delroy and the producer, where the producer was like, "Oh, he handled that really well. It was great. Like that was hilarious."
Okay.
Because they were probably playing off the thing. Because when he moves to the second people later on, you find out that he had his assistant gathering information.
Oh yeah. Yep.
And they probably sent their own person out there to give him false information so they can mess with him.
Yeah, so that was pretty funny. And then he talks to a couple who lost, or not a couple, but it was like a mother and a daughter or something, and the mother had lost her son, and so they were sort of like, and it seemed legit. It seemed like they really sort of connected, and it was, like it seemed like it was like a legit thing. And then he felt another voice, and this one was like the most powerful one. It even had caused like some shit to go haywire in the studio with lights and whatnot. And was this when the theremin started going wild, or is that another time?
No, that was later on.
That was later on. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So there was that, and then was it Minnie? I think was that the name?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So he hears something, from Minnie. And then it turns out that that's Jack Delroy's wife. Like that was sort of like a nickname that sort of like a pet name, I guess. And so he started getting like a little bit kind of like freaked out by this, kind of off camera. He didn't really show it on camera. And so already things are like, okay, well, something is going on here, something a little bit weird. And then after that, so Christu takes a seat, and at the time he's like started bleeding from the nose, and he's like, there's something wrong with him. Like he's been affected, or he's sick or something.
This impacts him.
Yes.
If both were kind of works, now it's getting real.
Right.
Like, what the fuck? Somebody fucking answer. Who is this fucking spirit?
Yeah. And then that's when they bring out Carmichael, and Carmichael was played by Ian Bliss. Did you guys recognize him? Did any of you guys recognize him?
He's got a very familiar look. He looks like a bunch of other guys I've seen in the movies.
So
it's hard to place him.
MZ might not remember this. Raven Shadow, you will. He was in the Matrix films, the second and third Matrix movie. He played Mr. Smith in the real world. So Smith inhabited the body of somebody in the real world.
Yes.
And at the end of the second movie, it's him and Neo laying on the laying down on the tables. And yeah, he's that guy. He's Smith in the real world. Because I knew like his eyes were like, I was like, I fucking recognize this guy. Where do I know him from? And I was like, and then it hit me. I was like, oh, like he made like some look that made me think, oh, that's the dude. It hit me. That's the dude from The Matrix for 2 and 3.
Yep.
So I looked it up, and sure enough, it was. But it was the mustache and the beard that was that threw me off a little bit. So, yeah. So for anyone who thought he looked a little bit familiar, that's Ian Bliss, who was in I forget the names of those movies now. The Reloaded and what was the third one?
Revelations
yeah.
or
Yeah. Resurrection was the fourth one. But so yeah, he was in those two movies. So that's where you might recognize him from. But you know, and MZ kind of already talked about that. I love that whole bit where he's trying to disprove everything. And who is the character? James Randi, you had mentioned, right, MZ? Yeah, so James Randi, actually, I think I might have heard this a few years ago, but he died in 2020. So he recently passed. And he was 72. Yeah, 72 years old when he passed. But yeah, so
so fairly young back then. Yeah.
What's that? Fairly young? Oh, in the 70s?
Fairly young, back then.
Yeah. But yeah, I love that character of Carmichael. It just was, and he was such a dick, like just always trying to disprove things, like, and just speak out. And then we have June, Dr. June, was that? I think.
Yeah.
And she had written a book. Was it like Conversation with the Devil or something like that? My Conversation with the Devil or something. And so she, meets this girl who was in a cult, and I don't know, maybe you would know MZ and or maybe Josh, but was that a play on Anton LaVey, the guy from the cult?
I think it was probably kind of like an amalgam of different figures.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, you know what, because also dealing with the blood and the way it was presented here, I got a bit of Faces of Death vibe.
Yeah.
The blood orgy scene and the sacrificial scene in the original Faces of Death, that my mind went straight to that when I saw that.
Even the footage that they either shot or used of like the police raid reminded me of the style of the footage for like different sections of Faces of Death.
Yeah. That's so funny because I've seen the Faces of Death, and I didn't even think of that, but now that you guys mention, I could totally see that. Yeah. So
sidebar: if you haven't revisited Faces of Death in a long time, I actually recommend checking out the Blu-ray with the commentary.
Oh, really?
Like to the point where like I think this should be required viewing of people like kids in film school, because the director's commentary actually goes through shot by shot and tells you what is footage that they bought and what is footage that they shot. But not only that, it talks about how they had to match the film stock and find like clothing to match like what the people had.
Wow.
And it's also interesting because almost every section of that film is a mix of real footage with like recreated footage, and it's the same actors recreating every scene, and you don't realize it.
Yeah, I mean, when I was a kid, I definitely didn't realize that. That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah,
no, it was so taboo and so magical. I
know.
Let us rent it.
So I just recommend, if you get the chance, if for some reason you ever want to revisit it, check out the director's commentary on the Blu-ray. It's worth it. It's worth the time.
All right. Do you have those, MZ? The Blu-ray?
No, I don't.
Oh,
no, I don't.
Surprised.
It's a geek show. It really is.
Evil Corny threw out the name of the character Ian Bliss played in The Matrix. He was Bane, was the character's name.
Well, of course he was. Yes.
Oh, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die. Oh, Mr. Batman.
I'm merely in the Matrix. I am the
Matrix. So yeah, they had the so a lot of this stuff was based on stuff that was happening either at the time or around that time. So the sort of advent of satanic panic, like I don't think it had quite reached its apex yet, but it was sort of on the way up there in the 70s. Yeah. And I would say in the early to mid 80s is maybe when it reached the apex, because we had talked about banned songs last week, and that's sort of like, that was sort of like maybe the height of that. They were looking for everything to fucking place, Satanism.
I would say it definitely hit its height in the 80s.
Yeah.
But I'd say it started well before this time period. I go back to like the late 60s with Rosemary's Baby.
Okay. Yeah.
Like I feel like that era was the beginning, which read like Rosemary's Baby, kind of the rise of Anton LaVey and stuff like that.
Yep.
I feel like that's when it started.
Okay. Yeah. That's probably, yeah, I think you're probably right about that. So this was sort of like in the middle of that. It was sort of like on the uprise. So that's why this would have been super interesting, I'm sure, to a lot of people if this was real.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, with like, Satanic Panic and, even in the 80s, they were literally anything that was remotely evil was satanic, like fucking Dungeons and Dragons.
Right.
Come on. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Dungeons and Dragons or...
You saw what it did to Tom Hanks.
That's yeah.
What's funny, even my mom would show me Scarface, Godfather, all these fucking movies, Aliens, Raw, Eddie Murphy Raw. And I talked about maybe playing D&D with some kids at school. That got pushed back. And it was really like... okay. And that was like 88, 87.
Heavy metal, was considered taboo and dangerous.
Yeah, and then it wasn't satanic necessarily, but then it kind of transferred to video games, and then it sort of, I feel like that's when the luster of the Satanic Panic started to wear off, and then it became like, oh, it's just evil people. It's just people trying to whatever. It was no longer satanic. It was just people trying to put violence out there. But yeah, Kiss, yeah, Knights in Satan's Service, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
So I think that this captured like having this be the backdrop for this story was perfect, because this would have played exceptionally well and it would have done huge numbers because people would have been like, holy shit, are you watching Night Owls? You have to fucking turn it on. There is this levitating girl, or the fucking, like later on, the dude with fucking worms, that shit, yeah, like if you had seen any of this, it would have been fucking crazy. You would have called all your friends and told them to turn on the TV for sure. Drake May says, "Play the record backwards" was the headline on Nightline 4 nights a week.
Yes. Right.
Yeah. So, yeah, but there's still, I wish we could talk a little bit more in depth about this because there's some stuff I'm kind of curious about, but would be spoiler territory, so I don't want to necessarily go there. But I think that there's some stuff here, some stuff present that is at play that we don't necessarily have all the details about. So, Jack has a connection to the Grove, and the Abraxas was the name of the demon they kept referencing that was inside of Lily. So it's like I feel like whatever this demon was sort of like was talking to Jack. So there's something else going on there without giving too much away. But I loved how this played out, and each segment got a little bit more crazy. And I think the one with Christou, when he, at the end of his segment, and so they had the Carmichael segment, and Christou did his whole thing when he had to get taken off stage, off the set. Right. That was pretty cool, and I liked how Carmichael was able to sort of like he found a reason for everything. Oh, like it was this, and this, and that's how he did this, and like always dispelling everything. And then when he, later on he found out some stuff that was like, okay, well maybe I can't, maybe I can't really write that one off. That's kind of weird.
Right.
But yeah, I just think that this movie does a really good job of keeping your interest without having it get boring in any of the segments, and escalating things further and further as it continues on, to the point where things get really kind of haywire and get crazy. And I felt like the pacing of it was done really well, and it fit well with the segments that they were doing in the show. And, you know, I don't... Oh, go ahead, MC. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, it's funny. I'm watching this film, and by the time we get to around June and Lily's spot, where things start turning up for her and she accepts the challenge from Carmichael.
Yep.
It's about halfway through the film. You know, you don't get this till around halfway through the film. And by that time, there's a lot of stuff that you've seen and heard at this point. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that goes on in this movie for a 92-minute movie. There's an awful lot of stuff that goes on. It's never dull, ever, at all. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that, you know, again, October 31st, 1977 TV show. It's moving at a frenetic pace because it's live. So everybody's got to be on their A game to make sure that everything's running smoothly. You get the behind the scenes shit, and what I really enjoyed was the delineation from what's on the air and what we see behind the scenes. So it cuts that black and white. I really enjoyed that.
That was nice.
You know, it's a nice little style choice that I really appreciated. The actual act itself, though, of the challenge that's performed here, and where Lily is it? Yeah, Lily.
Lily was the girl. Yeah.
Yep. Where Lily comes out, you know, because they want to talk to the devil, and you know, and Lily goes into her, you know, her thing here, and then up pops the devil. It's really fascinating to watch because it's treated like it's very, very genuine, because it's on live TV, and so, you know, it gives you the thought that, you know, anything can happen. I don't know why, but sometimes, but for some reason, and it must be because of the live TV aspect that it's showing here, I get more intrigued with stuff like this than I do rather than if it was just a regular movie. I feel like they push the envelope a little bit more when it's done for live television, rather than have it being, you know, someplace, some things happening to some people in some place. Whereas here, it's all staged up. You know, you got an audience. It's live TV. So basically anything can happen. All right. I don't know why I would think that, you know, because I mean, anything can happen if it was going someplace else. But for some reason, I just feel like the envelope gets pushed just a little bit further when they declare that this is live on TV.
Well, I think it raises the stakes and adds just a bit more tension, because you know that's part of it, right? So, you know, I don't know. I just feel like it's almost like the clock is winding down, you know, in the background, you know. So yeah, no, I can get that. Corny brings up an interesting point here. I almost said an evil point. Evil Corny brings up an evil point. He says, by the way, Moloch, owl god, is who is supposed to be worshipped at Bohemian Grove. He is the god of child sacrifice.
Yes, that's a big thing over there too. Is a giant fucking owl gimmick they have.
Yeah, and you see it like throughout, like that imagery is seen throughout a few times.
And the show is called Night Owls.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
and Moloch fought Night Owl in the Watchmen comics.
That is true. All right. So we've been talking a lot about the movie, what we like about it and stuff. I want to go to some of the controversy real quick. I didn't read a lot about this, so I don't know if Josh knows more than I do, but I know that there was some controversy about this movie because the title cards that they use when they're coming back from break, I think all of those, or at least some of them, were AI generated.
Yeah, that's about all I really know is that.
Okay.
And I don't even think it's all of them.
Okay, there was the one with the skeleton that I know was.
Yeah, but I think there's definitely like some of that artwork was AI generated, and that has been kind of the controversy, you know. But that's the extent of it that I know as well.
Okay, so.
Well, they say there's 3 different shots, and that's one of them. But there's 3 different shots. There's the skeleton that appears. I think it's a skeleton that appears on the stage, or a skeleton that appears on the welcome back card coming back from the commercial. They really didn't get into much specifics. That's, I think, the only one in which they did.
So there's 3 images.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm just going to read a little bit from. There's an article on Variety. If you guys want to find some more out, you can go look into it. Oh, actually, Angry Townsman put it in the chat, so maybe I don't even have to read. He says, "I think there were 3 AI images. One was on the door on set." Okay, so yeah. So this from Variety says, after some horror fans took to Twitter to express disappointment that the upcoming IFC Films feature Late Night with the Devil included AI-generated art, the directors have clarified how the technology was used. Cameron and Colin Cairns, the Australian siblings who wrote and directed the film, released a statement to Variety clarifying the scope of AI art in the film. Statement reads, "In conjunction with our amazing graphics and production design team, all of whom worked tirelessly to give this film the 70s aesthetic we had always imagined. We experimented with AI for 3 still images, which we edited further and ultimately appear as very brief interstitials in the film. We feel incredibly fortunate to have had such a talented and passionate cast, crew, and production team go above and beyond to help bring this film to life. We can't wait for everyone to see it for themselves this weekend." So that's pretty much all they said. Let's see. It looks like there's some disappointment in the inclusion of AI art was kickstarted by a March 19th Letterboxd review from a user who wrote that because of the use of AI, I can't enjoy the amazing performances and clever ending. That triggered more low ratings in Letterboxd, as well as discussions that flowed to Twitter in which film fans wrote messages like, "My little heart broke watching Late Night with the Devil this evening to see they utilized AI art." So I'm not going to read the whole thing. That's pretty much it. If you guys want to find out more, you can read about it. I think I've made my thoughts pretty clear on the show about AI art. In this case, I wouldn't have even noticed. Like, I wouldn't have noticed if I didn't read something about it. Now, I mean, maybe it was one of those things where maybe in editing they realized, you know what, wouldn't it be cool if we had some interstitials? And maybe everyone had like finished their work on the project, so maybe they needed to generate some art quickly or something like that. Like, I get it. I don't necessarily agree with it, because they probably could have paid someone, like a couple $100 to just mock up some things and pay an artist. I don't know. I don't know all the details behind it. But I don't feel like, I mean, that shouldn't take away from the film. I understand there was no AI in the 70s. If you want to make a film that is true to the era, then yes, you shouldn't have included it, because maybe that's going to be a distraction for some people. But I don't think most people will even notice it, So while I don't agree with it, I don't think it really should necessarily be like a storyline in regard to this movie,
Yeah, for the work, for the what's been accomplished and what was created, I don't think this should be a deal breaker. And I mean, like, it shouldn't make your little heart hurt that much.
Yeah, like, I don't agree with it, and you can let the directors know that you're disappointed with their use of it. But I mean, it's not going to change my thoughts on the film because there's clearly a lot of art that went into this. There's a lot of creativity. There's a lot of art that went into this, and it, like this person said, it shouldn't take away from the performances and the ending. Like I like I get it. I get having a problem with it because I have a big problem with AI art. But for something that might have been, you know what? Like, we should add a couple interstitials here as we're coming back from break just to have like a clear delineation between the black and white footage and the actual, show footage. Maybe it would help to have something like that. And maybe it was an afterthought. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe I'm just making up shit. But if it was an afterthought and it was towards the end of editing, I could see that. Still doesn't make it okay, but I could understand that,
And how much would it really take to get someone to create that for real?
I mean, yeah, not long. It really just depends. I mean, if they were out of budget, like maybe they're just like, you know what, we're out of budget. Let's just do this thing. But I can't imagine you didn't have a few $100s laying around where you could just pay someone to do something like that. And I'm not saying that a few $100s is what it's worth, but it just depends on, this just depends.
Well, it could have been it could have been a time crunch too. Cause I mean, when you watch the beginning of this film, the very beginning I'm talking about, there's like 7 or 8 production companies attached to this goddamn thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Jesus Christ. Right.
Yeah. It like half the movie is production companies. Yeah, I find it fascinating, although I do understand the point of this is not good shit to have, because it's going to be bad, and it could be bad. It's got to be controlled, or and take it maybe just taken out of films altogether. I think the directors have learned their lesson because I'm sure they're hearing it. They're certainly
definitely
hearing it, and they're learning their lesson as not to do that again.
Yep.
Whatever the next film is going to be.
Especially getting review bombed. I'm sure they're like, you know what? Like, it's just not worth it. So let's not do that again.
Well, I heard about the AI thing before I saw this movie. I heard about it like about maybe a month prior, and I read up on it, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to keep a very careful eye on where it could possibly be, and I tried looking, and I didn't notice it, and AI right now is in its infancy. So, and when you watch it, it's really kind of noticeable. Even your best AI is really noticeable.
Well, it is getting better. I mean, as someone who,
it's absolutely getting better. But at the time when this movie was made, it's still in its infancy.
Because you could generate an AI image of a human and they'd have 6 or 7 fingers, or something. They're getting better with fingers and hands and stuff like that, but it's still just it's just it's grimy to me,
Yeah, it is, and then I didn't notice anything, and I looked, but I didn't notice anything different. Nothing kind of looked warped or anything like that, except for what was naturally being treated in the film itself. But it's not a good move on these directors' parts. It really isn't. They're hearing it. They know not to do it again. But still, the fact remains is that it's here. The fact remains is that it's here. It's in the film.
Yep.
Okay, so what do you do? Really, not much you can do. Does it change your perception on the film? It could. Apparently it does for a lot of people. Will it for me? I don't know. We'll have to find out. But so stay tuned.
Any other thoughts on the AI? I don't want to belabor the point. I don't want to spend too long on it. I just wanted to make sure we brought it up.
Fair.
Yeah. No.
Okay. So, so that's pretty much it. Let's see here. What else do I want to? should probably wrap up soon, but there's definitely some more stuff that we can discuss here. And the actual production, like, of the TV show, I thought was spot on. I thought it was great. Like the band and like the sidekick and everything. Like, I thought that they really nailed it.
All the elements to recreate a period show.
Yeah.
Like I said, those were all pulled off wonderfully.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, not since granted at its time, it was set in modern day, but not since, say, like the Larry Sanders Show has there been not a spot on take of, you know, the talk show tropes, you know, and it was perfect. It's down to the reenactment, the clips like we talked about. It just felt like that. The audience, it just it just totally felt real.
Yeah, and even we sort of already talked about this, but even when they were doing sort of like the highlights of the show in the very beginning, like having you know the animals with the spider and like all the different, you know, like that's the kind of shit you got, right? Like, so I think they nailed it perfectly as to what the content of the show was.
The sketches, and even down to when you had to bump somebody.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Bump,
like they did. Yeah.
The
singer.
Yeah. Let's see. One other thought. I wonder if. Sorry, I'm just going to go back to AI real quick. I wonder if the directors did it on purpose. To generate controversy, right? Like,
so
it was hard.
I'd say that is worth wondering, because how did that one reviewer know what was in there?
Right. Yeah, it is interesting because how would they have known? I mean, unless that they were involved or someone told them, but unless there was a telltale sign like 6 fingers or something like that. But it was just like art. It wasn't humans. It was, you know.
Right. And it was a still image too. So.
Yeah. So, I mean, it could be that maybe they welcomed the controversy to just get a little bit of buzz, because I mean, they definitely got buzz.
Yeah.
So.
But they didn't need it. I mean,
well,
the movie itself generate the buzz. I mean.
Yes and no, but I mean, they hadn't, at this point in their careers, they hadn't had a film that had garnered this much attention. So maybe they just didn't think that, you know, maybe they said, you know what, let's pull out all the stops and let's try to get some more attention around this. And putting a couple of still images that are AI generated is in the overall grand scheme of things harmless compared to, you know, like an AI written script or whatever, you know.
Right.
So I guess
to his point of all the detail put into the practical.
Yeah. If you're gonna do it, if you're gonna do it, that's the way to do it. If you want to generate some fucking heat, you know. So speaking of
and it definitely like generated enough buzz where Advance Word got this film into theaters for weeks.
Exactly. Yeah.
On a fairly wide release.
Yep.
You know, I saw it at a showcase.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it is possible that that did generate a little bit of extra buzz to get it there, and if so, I mean, that's carny as fuck, and I applaud them, I guess, if that worked, you know.
Right. I mean, to figure it's a, you know, it's Polka Dot Man's starring feature. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, as great as he is, but no, that's actually pretty dope if it was a work. Or just a little bit.
Yeah.
Just enough of a creative work.
So we'll never. Well, maybe we'll know, but you know, it's one of those things we don't have that information right now. So who knows? All right. What else about this? I mean, I feel like we could talk about this movie for fucking hours.
Well, I know we all very much like the film, but I had some minor issues
Yeah.
With the setup and maintaining of the mockumentary.
Okay.
So everything is great with the production of the actual show episode. You know, no complaints. I thought things got a little bit weird when they go to the behind the scenes footage. It goes to a 1:66 aspect ratio, which is possible with 16 millimeter, but not common. I know they shot all of this digitally and then just altered the different things that, you know, to fit whether it was the show or the behind the scenes. So first off, 1:66 is not really a super commonly used aspect ratio for 16 millimeter.
Yeah.
And I found it slightly off-putting, not necessarily that nobody on the show acknowledged the behind-the-scenes film crew, but that they were so willing to so freely discuss very sensitive topics directly in front of them. And that if you pay attention, there are multiple cameras going for the behind-the-scenes film crew, yet they never seem to get each other in a shot.
That's fair.
Hell, even Cannibal Holocaust got that right.
Yeah. And then my other issue is also a stylistic issue, is that there is a point where they kind of break the whole mockumentary format, and for a 2-minute period, the film goes to a widescreen 2:3:5 aspect ratio.
When was that, Josh? I'm trying to remember. I don't know if I noticed.
In the last 10-minute segment, so I don't want to say exactly
okay.
what happens.
Oh, yeah. No.
Yeah.
Okay.
But,
Okay.
There's about 2 minutes in that last 10 minutes where it goes from completely different than the other ones and goes to a full widescreen aspect ratio. And,
right.
And that kind of takes me out of the whole mockumentary thing, because, you know, we're leaving the whole format now and then coming back into it.
Yeah, I can see what you're saying. It's funny, I didn't actually recognize it at the time, and it could have been because I was just, you know, pulled in by what we're seeing, that I didn't necessarily pay attention. But yeah, like that, you're right. I mean, it kind of does, you know, take you out of it a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I know relatively minor complaints.
Yeah.
Things that most people would not even notice or think about.
Yeah. But I mean, that's what you do. You're a film projectionist, so you're going to pay attention to aspect ratio.
Yeah. And again, like the aspect ratio of the behind the scenes stuff, it isn't too bothersome because it is possible. Like I said, it's just not that common.
Yep.
But it was just kind of more that you never saw the other film crew. I thought that was kind of a little bit odd. And then the kind of complete break from the format for a couple minutes.
Yeah. I think those are fair critiques. Like I said earlier, I mean, one of my really only nitpicks is the CGI. You know, mostly because if you're trying to make a film that feels like it's from the 70s, they nailed everything else.
Sure.
It's just that took me out of it because it that is a modern film making technique, you know, and there's no mistaking that. Like, that was CGI. No one is going to see that and say, nah, I don't know, it looked pretty genuine to me. No, like it was CGI.
Yeah.
So if you're gonna go with, you know, wanting it to be as accurate as possible, I say you shoot that last so that you don't fuck up the set. and you do it practical, you know, like that would have been my thing. But
that's why I say, you know, I would have felt much better had this been done on tape rather than on film. I think CGI would mesh a little better with videotape.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Because you got the bright color, everything's got sharp contrast to it. So if the CGI has sharp contrast, I mean, yeah, it won't be perfect still, but at least it'll blend in a little better.
And it was all just a matter of a filter because they just shot everything digitally anyway.
Yeah. But I mean, yeah, that's a nitpick, and it's difficult to think of too much else that I have an issue with. And even the ending, while the ending sort of wasn't necessarily what I expected, and it sort of left me a little kind of wanting more, I guess. It was a haunting ending, and I feel like if this was a TV show and that's how it ended, like if this was a legit thing, I would have been like, holy shit, that's the big holy shit end, right? Like, so for this to be a TV show or a late night talk show, and for it to end that way, that to me is pretty bold. That's a bold statement. So I don't necessarily have a problem with the end. I think as a film watcher, it didn't go where I wanted to, and that doesn't. I mean, not necessarily it didn't go where I thought it was going to go, and that's not a bad thing. It's just when it ended, I was just thinking to myself, was that the end I would have done, or as opposed to just being really on board with it, I was just like, oh, that kind of took me for a turn. I didn't think it was going to go there. So instead of like thinking about how cool the ending was, I was thinking about, was that the right move? But that is a me thing. It's not a them thing. It's, but in hindsight, when I think about it, I think it was the right choice. It's, when you think of it like this, if you're watching a show, imagine watching a fucking show that ends like that, right? Fuck, right? Like that would be fucking like horrifying. But if you're watching,
I'm watching next week. I'll tell you that much, honey.
Yeah.
Fuck silver spoons. We're watching this one.
MZ, you're muted again. Yeah, I couldn't hear you before.
It was like the end of the Fabulous Feebles Variety Hour and Meet the Feebles.
Meet the Feebles. Yeah. So I don't have too many more complaints, really. I mean, I feel like we can just probably head to the verdict. Do you guys have anything else? Anything about the music or the any other sort of like filmmaking choices?
I did appreciate the inclusion of a Pentagram song in the opening montage.
Oh yeah. I actually didn't. I'm not familiar with that, but that's cool. That's from that era?
Yeah.
Cool.
Granted, it's one of those things where like nobody in that era would have known about that song.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like they're a band whose kind of popularity came, way later.
Let me check the chat room. Drake May says that's a Paul Heyman move. I like it. Talking about if they had actually done the AI on purpose, like to get controversy. And he also said, I couldn't agree with you more, Josh, regarding the behind the scenes crew stuff. So
thank you.
Seems like Drake May also appreciate that. All right. Well, I say we go to the verdict on this one because we do have a couple voice messages and want to get to those. So let's go ahead and find out what everyone thought about the movie.
Trick or treat, baby.
I wonder if people would say you're a trick or a treat.
Trick or treat, motherfucker.
All right, it is verdict time. We're going to let you know whether Late Night with the Devil was a trick or a treat, and any final thoughts we may have. Let's start with MZ.
I'm going to give this a treat. This is very, very good. I'm going to ignore the whole AI situation because it is only in 3 small shots.
Still images, not even shots.
Yeah, just images. And I mean, yeah, it's a shitty move to make, but you know what? A lot of shitty moves have been done in filmmaking, and this was one of them. But I'm not going to make that sway me. This is a treat. Like
Hey,
I
at
said,
least they're not Roman
before-
Polanski, right?
That Funhouse movie, or
again, I feel like I wish this was done on tape. A recent horror movie that came out just a couple of years ago that I think that you guys should watch is a film called Give Me Pity, which is it takes place in like the early 80s, and it stars what's her name, Sophie von Hasselberg.
Oh, of
who
course,
is
her.
Bette Midler's daughter.
Oh, yeah. Okay, you did talk about this. Yep.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And yeah, I watched it a couple months ago. It's good, and it takes place live on television, and she's doing a show, and then all of a sudden she just starts, the whole system just starts breaking down, and she starts going crazy. It's worth a watch. It's on Shudder, so check it out if you get the opportunity. I love the pacing of this film. I love the way the way this film looks is immaculate, and it's just absolutely incredible. I love everything about the way this film looks. David Dalmatian is awesome.
Dalmatian.
Okay? He's an affable guy. He's a likable guy. He's the kind of guy you want to root for him. He looks like, he would be playing the best friend, but he's coming up in the business, man. And his work in horror is going to start getting noticed after this film, because he was very good here. Everyone was really, really good. The nods to Skull and Bones and also to James Randi, I appreciate that. I mean, those are two areas that really don't get touched all that often. And the big buildup to actually talking to the devil, I thought the buildup on that was really, really well done. I think the violence in here is really good. It's not too much. It's just enough. It makes sense. The CGI is a little wonky. It does take you out a little bit. I also don't know how I feel about the last 10 minutes. I'm not saying it's bad. It's just an extension of the film, but I don't think I don't think it was really all that necessary. I think if it ended at that first point, I would have been fine with it. This is a very well-made movie. This is a very good movie, and it's exciting. It's too interesting to be dull. And even during just talk segments, which this is a talk show, but even during the points where there's really nothing going on, there's always something going on. There's a lot to fill in here. They do a lot of stuff in this short 92-minute running time. It's really good. It's really interesting, and it's just a really great movie. It really is, and this is a big time treat for me.
All right, let's go with Josh.
All right. Well, I've been looking forward to seeing this, and even though I have some nitpicks with it, it did not disappoint. Everything that MZ said, I'm on board with. I'm willing to overlook the minor use of AI, the sets, the casting, the script, like everything was top notch. Like I said, I have some nitpicks, but even I understand that they are nitpicks that like 4% of the overall people that watch this movie will even notice or think about. So, so I also am going to give this a treat and a recommend.
All right, Michael Ravenshadow.
So I definitely agree with what the boys have been saying in terms of whether they be nitpicks or even some slight criticisms or whatnot. Um, Again, really along for the ride with this picture, and I think the violence that was shown, I don't know if violence is quite the right word, at least for the majority of the film or even or the broadcast, if you will. I think they were more intense situations. I mean, it was a balancing act, because if things really got violent, the censors would have pulled it. You would have pulled the show. So it had to be just enough to keep people interested. It made me kind of think of, and I'm sure there's a million of these out there. MZ probably knows at least 100,000 of off the rail moments in talk shows. What comes to mind for me was the famous Burt Reynolds, Mark Summers business back and forth, with the water and the flour and shit. The famous Tom Green episode when like the dude from Jackal cut his fucking desk off and he totally got pissy at him.
Oh yeah.
But it was enough. Remember though, I'm sure there's a bunch more, but it had to keep rolling. So I think it walked the line, and I was really in where the fuck is this gonna go? I think some of the boys have mentioned I'm in the camp where I'm not sure how I feel about the ending. I'm not saying I don't like it. I kind of wish we had the spoiler discussion music for this picture in particular. So I do look forward to talking to you folks afterwards. But like I say, I think we're all on a very close to the similar page. Did really enjoy it. And I'm definitely, I love the look, love the cast, love the attention to detail. And once again, is it the way I would have done it? But no, but I didn't do it. So I still liked it. So treat.
All right, and for me, this is a big treat. I really love this movie, and I think the pacing was just done so well. Just the presentation of everything, the way it looked, the performance by David Dastmalchian was incredible. I thought he played a very charismatic. I mean, I don't think it was MZ that used the word, or maybe Raven Shadow, affable. Like you just kind of, and you also sort of like sympathize with him, like with what happened to his wife and that whole fucking episode where she was on with him talking about her lung cancer, and she had lung cancer and she didn't even smoke, Raven Shadow. How do you feel about that?
Which one? That made a point to say never smoked and got lung cancer.
Yeah. So, I think that there's just so much about this film that was really cool and interesting, and it felt unique. In this day and age, we've talked about that it can be very difficult to have an original film, a completely wholly original idea. But this film felt unique because they took these disparate elements that we may not have seen before or done in this way, I should say, because we've kind of all seen things like this, but they did it in such a way that was very believable. And it definitely helped to have a great actor who played Jack Delroy, and all the other character actors and the actors that were brought in to do the performances, I thought just nailed their parts. So this just felt really good. Everything about this movie felt really good. And I could see this being a new Halloween kind of viewing for a lot of people. Because this is a Halloween movie. It takes place on Halloween. I could see people fucking like do it. I could see people watching this, like starting it at like fucking 9:27 p.m. and having the fucking, the end of the movie at midnight or something,
That'd be me. That'd be me. Because I'm definitely picking up a hard copy of this. I'm definitely getting a physical copy.
Yeah. So, I think this is going to be a lot of people's new Halloween sort of ritual. And complete with your ritual knife by the nightstand.
So to speak, yeah.
And I mean, the only thing literally the only thing I didn't like about it was complete nitpick CGI thing. I wish they just had done practical. And the AI, obviously, I'm not a big fan of, but I'm pretty convinced that the AI in this was done for controversy. I think, I mean, it was harmless. If they had did it, if part of the script was written in AI, or if whatever, if there was something like that, like I could see it being, but the way being an issue, more of an issue, but the way they utilized it was very minor, and I think it's just for controversy. That's just my take. It's my opinion on it. I don't know if that's legit, but and if so, and if it got them in theaters, fuck, how can you really like question that move if that's what did it, So yeah, it's a big treat for me. This is going to be interesting to see where this one ends up on the year end, because it's going to be there, I'm pretty sure, unless we have a fucking like amazing amount of films left for the rest of the year. But already, a few months in, I think this is definitely a contender for the end of the year.
For sure.
So, all right, well, there you go. That's our thoughts and opinions on Late Night with the Devil. It is available on Shudder. If you guys have Shudder, what are you waiting for? Check it out. I mean, I think this is one of those movies I think most people are going to really fucking like this. And even if there's things you don't like about it, I think for the most part, people will dig parts of it. It's like one of those ones. I just can't see people watching this and being like, "Oh, that movie was terrible." I could just see people being like, "Yeah, you know what? I didn't like some things, but overall, like, I think most people would dig this."
Yeah, for sure.
So Drake May says 70s vibe had me thinking Carol Channing was going to come out as a guest.
I was hoping for Madam. Maybe she's what, 80s?
Yeah.
Chara, hoochie coochie.
Chara, yeah. And Drake May also says, wish they would have utilized a better aspect ratio and filter to truly define the behind-the-scenes footage. Left a little confused from it. Ending was derivative. AI equals trick. Pacing was spectacular. All right. There you go. We got Drake May's, our pal Drake May's thoughts. Let me just check the other chats. See, just make sure there's no other. Oh, Angry Townsman said Miss Cleo Easter egg there.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yep.
Yeah. There you go. Glad he brought that up. That was funny. All right. Well, there you go. That's our discussion of Late Night with the Devil. Now, next week, we're going to be talking about another movie that got a pretty good amount of praise, had a little theatrical run there. And MZ sort of, he did talk about it at the top there. So next week, we'll be talking about the film Immaculate. Religious horror. And let me just pull up the details on this. This is a VOD release. So if you guys want to check it out, it is on VOD. And let me just see. I think it's I'm just checking to see if it's a premium or if it's just a regular rental. Okay, so it's not the premium. It's $9.99 to rent. It's kind of in between. Usually, like they're $4.99, $5.99, something like that. But the premiums are $20. This is kind of in the middle. So $9.99. Just looking, it's available on Prime. It's probably also on YouTube, Apple TV, all Vudu, all the different places. So we'll be talking about Immaculate, and this film is a horror film from director Michael Mohan. And the synopsis: Cecilia, a woman of devout faith, is warmly welcomed to the picture-perfect Italian countryside, Raven Shadow. What do you think about that?
You're welcome. I think I think I know where you're going with this.
Italian countryside, where she is offered a new role at an illustrious convent, but it becomes clear to Cecilia that her new home harbors dark and horrifying secrets. And it stars Sydney Sweeney, who people are now going nuts about. Who I never heard of her until a couple months ago, I think.
Yeah, right?
She is awesome.
What's she awesome? How's she awesome? What do you know her from?
No, she's a beautiful woman. But no, she was on that show Euphoria. She played, even though it got panned, she did play a version of my favorite Spider-Woman, Julie Carpenter. In,
Oh yeah, she was in Madam Web.
Much maligned Madam Web. And she was in that rom-com, Anyone But You, which I saw. Yeah.
Which I saw.
I did. Yeah, I did.
That's it. Did you like it?
Yeah, enough. It was funny. Yeah. I like parts of it.
The parts where there's nudity or something, right?
No, it was a very funny movie, but it was obviously definitely a fucking rom-com. But yeah, it was funny. It was a funny. What are you gonna do?
It should have been a Zomcom.
Oh, it should have been a Zomcom.
I will say, I think you guys will enjoy that film next week.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
It definitely takes advantage of its Italian setting. It very much at times has the feel of a classic Euro horror film.
Nice.
And it even uses some scores from some old Italian films.
So it steals. Good.
No, it credits them in the end.
Okay. Just outright takes gimmick infringement.
Marion says Raven Shadow made me watch her rom-com. Is that true, Raven Shadow?
It's true. But no, here's the thing though. I thought it was more like, it was pitched to me like The Hangover, but like a rom-com. But then as we watched it truly was a fucking rom-com. Like it but
so
I thought
you're just a big fan of her.
I think she's very. And the dude's good too. The dude in that movie's good. He's fucking.
Yeah, but you watch it for her.
Yeah.
She's hot. That's his whole story.
Yeah.
She's hot. Yeah. That's all it takes.
Raven Shadow's easy to please.
I'm fucking detoxing Montezero. It's not easy.
Don't fuck with him. Don't fuck with him.
Yeah.
All right. So so Immaculate. We'll do that next week. It's on VOD. Check it out. If you guys have thoughts, feel free to let us know what you think. Send us a voicemail at podcast@trickortreatradio.com. All right. So we have a few voice messages. Let me go ahead and pull these babies up here from some 5-star brothers, Raven Shadow, or 10 stars. What are we doing now this week?
Oh, let's find out. See who it is.
All right, so let me get these loaded up here. So, I think we have 2 or 3. Yeah, 3. So nice. We haven't had a couple. We didn't have any last week and maybe the week before. So good to hear from some folks here. All right, let's first check in with our good brother from the Midwest. That would be First Time. I'm waiting for the fucking thing to load. First Time Mike. There we go.
What's up, Trick or Treat family? This is First Time Mike. Hope everything is well with everybody. This is my review of Late Night with the Devil. I've been waiting for this one to come out for a while since I first saw the trailer and heard about the concept. I love these retro horror movies that take the time to build up a setting that looks almost like the television or movies from the 70s, the 80s, and the 90s. And so this is very much up my wheel well. So I was ready for something good, but I was very impressed with it. This Night Owls with Jack Delroy looks like a 70s show, from the bad the bad furniture on the set design to the band to the even like what about the backstage from the time to the cheesy pun-filled interstitials, the show when the commercials are coming in. And I very much enjoyed how they had the TV show in color and what was happening behind the scenes in black and white to basically set them apart. The more uncanny stuff first starts off in the black and white scenes, and then it's a couple words here, or it's something that happens here, with another period of just normal stuff happening. But it's as certain people are come in and certain things are revealed, it starts to become more and more uncanny. The setting of reality makes the strangeness and the horror, more effective. because when the supernatural starts intruding, you're already kind of lulled to a false sense of, okay, this is a little funny, this is going on, and then pow, here comes something, and you start feeling more and more uncanny. David Dalmatian is very good as Jack Delroy, kind of like that cheesy talk show host, behind the scenes, kind of greedy, kind of looking for fame, but also in his own way a nice guy. But there's a touch of hubris in everything going on, and hubris is a bad thing in horror movies. A lot of the other cast as well supporting, playing up the very much the tropes of late night television, the sidekick, the producer, the some of the guests, very much drawn from stuff like the satanic books of like the 70s and 80s. Ian Bliss is great as Carmichael Haig, the ex magician turned skeptic, he's kind of a dick, and let's not sugarcoat it. And he pushes the movie around a lot, and he has some effective scenes on his own, which makes when the shit starts breaking apart, that makes him much what he's setting up much more interesting and dangerous as what happens. And then when what you think is the climax is just the beginning. And I don't want to give away anything or even talk about some more things going on, because I've watched it twice, and I've read some articles about it that there's some hidden stuff in there that go just beyond the viewings. And this is a pretty dense movie, but I found it very entertaining. It's a slow burn. Again, if you're going in thinking it's going to be like some Exorcist fest, you're kind of watching the wrong movie. I don't want to give any spoilers, but this is a slow burn, but it's a fun ride to go on. And I give Late Night with the Devil a treat. I thought the performances was good. I thought the design of the movie was great. Totally captured the era and makes it more effective because it's grounded in that reality. As for me, I've been doing good. It's been really busy for me the past couple of weeks. Family's getting healthier, and everything's good on my end right now, except I got inventory next week, which kind of sucks. But this is first time Mike. Hey, Josh. Always good to see you, man. And hello to everybody else that's been on the show recently. I've just been really busy for these voicemails. But thanks for listening to me ramble. This is first time Mike saying good night. First time Mike drop out. Bye.
Yeah, boy. Baby Shadow?
Midwest brother rating out of 10.
All right. Well, first time, Mike, always great to hear from you. And
yeah, dude.
You know what? Like, if people go a week or two or multiple weeks in between, life happens, right? Like, we're never going to get down on anyone for life happening, and shit gets busy.
Yeah, I do that all the time.
Yeah. It's amazing Raven Shadow shows up here on a weekly basis.
It's true.
But yeah, so never worry about that first time, Mike. But glad to hear that the family is feeling better. You're feeling better, and glad you dug the movie, and appreciate your perspective as always. Drake May says first time Mike is a brother. Look, even the fucking quarterback of the Patriots knows apparently.
See?
So, yeah.
He was broken in nice, I'll tell you that. They broke him in right.
Yeah. All right. So now let's check in with Dangerous Donnie Davis.
Yeah, boy.
Hey, this is Donnie, or Angry Townsman on Discord. I just finished Late Night with the Devil, and it is still percolating. First up front, I'm going to go ahead and say this is a treat. Okay. This was, I grew up with this kind of late night TV. Well, not this kind of late night TV, but with late night TV. So this does resonate more with me than I think it may with a younger audience. But performances were great, and I liked the format and the layout and the way it went through the story step by step. I honestly thought the very ending was going to be something a lot different than what we got. I like what we got better than what I was expecting. Gosh, I'm trying not to spoil anything because I want people to watch this. The allusions to the men's club that the host was a part of intrigued me. I wish that could have been delved into a little bit more. Did like the skeptic that was the guest to try and debunk everything and the links he went to. And it left me wanting more, which I think is a good thing. Sometimes it's nice for movies not to give you every answer to something.
Yeah.
But I definitely recommend that if you haven't watched it, watch it. As I always say, avoid trailers.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks. You guys take it easy. Bye.
All right. Dangerous Donnie Davis. Always good to hear from you. Raven Shot, brother rating?
Such a percolating brother rating out of 10.
Yeah, glad you dug it, Donnie. Always good to hear from you. I hope all is well in your neck of the woods. And thanks for.
She actually touched on something too. Sorry, I mean to cut you off.
Please,
when I was watching this Marion last night, I'm like, what was this trailer like? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't watch the trailer either. I imagine they showed like some stuff from the show that wasn't shocking, just to kind of give you a vibe for what's going on, maybe. Because, I mean, you couldn't show too much. I mean, you wouldn't want to give that away. Maybe some of the, when she was communing with Abraxas, maybe some of that, but hopefully not too much,
Yeah.
But, awesome. Glad you dug it, Donnie, and appreciate hearing from you. All right, we got one more. Go ahead and pull that up here. One more voice message. All right, I'm not quite sure who this is from, so let's just give it a listen and see what we get.
Hi, everybody. I'm sorry to call, but this is the Raven Wiener.
What?
And I'm so tired. I went through such a long period of time where I was being unused. And then I got pulled every which way but that. I'm just so tired. You gotta tell Raven Shadow to leave with me. I'm so tired. Please give the boy an intervention and let him know that every now and again he's got to be gentle. I'm so tired. He didn't let me sleep for days. I'm so dehydrated. And all I can see is his hairy feet. I'm so tired.
Raven Wiener called? Really?
Hello.
And how did you not know that call was happening?
I've been.
You're on drugs, right?
Yeah.
Not
during the procedure.
Prescription drug. Yeah. Well, it sounded like Raven Wiener was taking a shower, so I mean.
I must have been in the other room when that was happening. Unless it was maybe I didn't ask for the sponge bath, but I guess maybe I was a lucky customer.
Were you hanging out with Bob Kraft?
Well,
Don't tell MZ what you saw. He has too many questions.
Yeah,
that's true. Yeah.
Or you know what? Maybe you were hypnotized by Dr. June or by what's that guy's name? The skeptic.
Oh, Randy Orton.
No, Randy Orton. Talking about this fucking movie. Carmichael.
Oh,
Yeah,
Carmichael.
maybe it was Carmichael.
I was thinking of the real guy.
Maybe he hypnotized you and made Raven Wiener talk.
Yeah, no, I mean, I did say I made him laugh in the operating room. They still didn't tell me what I said, so maybe I don't know. I don't know. I'll check out my follow up, see what really happened.
Maybe the fluffers were actually really good.
So, yeah, play back the tape. Can I get tape of that, please?
All right, so let's start to wind things down here. Drake May says travel day tomorrow to do the press conference. Go Pats. May runs on Duncan. And he said before I leave, he posted a picture, and it was looks like an Instagram post from Matthew Jackson of the Young Bucks, and it's a picture of Tony Khan in the draft room with his fucking neck brace on, and his dad is behind him with that fucking mustache. Oh shit.
That's fucking crazy.
MZ, what'd you think of that voice message we just heard?
It was incredible. Best message I ever heard.
You really enjoyed hearing from Raven Wiener?
Yeah, who doesn't?
All right, well, that's gonna do it. So we're gonna wind this down here. Josh, anything else? Is there anything else coming up that you want to add? If people are in the New England area, if you want, you can feel free to let them know where they can come find you, buy some records. And yeah, anything else? I know you're on a podcast, so if you want to go ahead and talk about that, or if you're still doing your other podcast, just
well, so the podcast I was doing with Rick, Misfits of Horror, we haven't done in a while, but we'll probably eventually get back to. He's a very busy person, so we kind of work around his schedule.
Gotcha.
The podcast I was on last night is one called Three Geeky Dads, and I think it'll go up sometime next week. They do an episode about every week, so. And other than that, earlier I mentioned that I'll be at the Hassle Flea in Cambridge on the 28th, while Steph will be at the Portland, Maine Record Show the same day. And then the following weekend, on May 4th, we'll be in downtown Providence at the Rock and Roll Yard Sale. And May 5th, we'll be in Albany, New York at the Upstate New York Punk Market.
Nice.
Yeah, if people want to really see like all the places I'll be selling records and doing things, they could go on Instagram and follow Weird Media Records. And then we usually post about all the places we're going to be over there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Cool. So everyone check that out. And if you want to hear Josh on some other shows, you got some places to go look up and follow him. So as always, Josh, we love having you on and love your perspective on film. And especially this, you brought a unique perspective that we wouldn't have been able to have. So we appreciate that.
Well, thank you for having me. I always appreciate the invite.
Of course. And all right, well, let's say our goodbyes. And you guys can also say goodbye to Josh as you say goodbye to the listeners, starting with MZ.
Hey, Josh, thanks for joining us tonight, man. It's awesome, man. I'll see you in New Hampshire.
Excellent. See you in July.
Right. And arrivederci, douchebags.
All right. Michael Ravenchannel.
Josh, good seeing you, buddy, as always.
You too.
You're wicked fucking smart, and I miss you. Give you a hug and a kiss soon. Yeah, it's true. I do want to thank again all the outreach, any of the assistance I've had over the last couple of procedures, especially Marion, who's been on the front lines, and especially when I've been a real pain in the ass during the detox process in particular. So thank you, and live fast, love hard, die with your mask on.
All right. That is going to do it. So we appreciate you guys tuning in and hanging out with us live for those that did. And if you're listening to the podcast, you can always go back and watch the video. It's available on YouTube. It's available on our website, If you go to trickortreatradio.com, we list I think it's the 10 most recent episodes on the front page, or you can click on episodes. You can see links to all of them. We include the video link there. So for folks who maybe weren't aware of that, it's all there. And you guys can go ahead and subscribe to the Patreon for as little as $2 a month. Any and all support helps. And let's see. Yeah, if you do, we don't talk about this often, but, like if you guys listen on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen, if there's a method for leaving a review, we would really appreciate it. Because, there's like fucking 10 billion podcasts out there right now. And, it's very easy to get lost in the shuffle. So if you guys leave us reviews, then it moves us up in the algorithms. The algorithm gods like that. It's like a sacrifice to the algorithm gods. So, all right. Well, that's going to do it. Next week, we'll be back with Immaculate. So check that out. And we'll be talking about that flick next week. And Raven Shadow will get to see his the homeland in the movie, Italy.
It's true.
And we'll be talking about that. So come back, join us,
Buongiorno.
hang out with us. In the meantime, go check out the Patreon and listen to the episode, the new one, and all the old ones if you haven't heard those. So that's going to do it. We'll talk to you guys soon. See you. Thanks again, Josh.
You're welcome.